Well, Perchy.
Hello, mate.
That was my new intro video.
God, it's a bit funky, isn't it? God, ain't bad, is it? God.
I tell you what, I was, myself and Henry were thinking of some ideas, but the guy who does the animation stuff is just brilliant the way he edits that. Listen, I was toying. Do I get any Spurs goals in there? But all of those goals.
I thought you'd have got the Lucas Moura one in there against Ajax.
It was all Premier League. Well, actually, no, it wasn't all Premier League, was it? Because I've got Zidane in there and Carlos.
Zidane in there.
All right. Well, maybe next season I'll get Lucas Moura in there.
That would be quite a good one.
Big up to you. Big up to. Look, here's this guy. Look, I bet he's been having a nap. I bet he's been napping.
100%.
You've been having a nap.
Yes. Yeah.
You've been having a nap, haven't you? I thought so. No. I was just laying on the sofa thinking about you. Hey, and do you know what? I was actually watching a 3-part documentary about Waco. Do you remember the?
Yeah.
Waco? Yes. Wow is all I can say. I'm only 2/3 through. Just wow, and it made me realise maybe not all is bad at Spurs. So
I find them quite similar.
Yeah. So sorry, you're telling me Daniel Levy is our version of David Koresh?
In a way.
Right, okay.
Oh, here we go.
We've gone straight in on Daniel Levy. Anyway, hello to everyone. Hello to everyone in the chat. We've got some characters in here already. We have got Finn Rickwood. He hasn't messed about. Just Conte out, Levy out. Ravy Bicari said big up until the owners go. Spurs won't change. Yeah, of course. Sue is in here. Yes, Sue. We know your opinions. Hope you are well. Mark's here, obviously talking about Pochettino, of course. I think that Mark sleeps with Pochettino pajamas on. I'm just going to put it out there right now.
Now he's got, the club brought those ones out with all the players, but those like stuffed doll things with the giant head.
Yeah,
he's got one of those with Pochettino. I'm calling it.
I thought you meant Eric Dyer.
Eric Dyer. Yeah, well, he loves me and I love him, right? Isn't that how it works with Eric Dyer?
Exactly.
Billy Horrocks is telling me that Nagelsmann is coming. Or Nagelsmann, as I've been told off for saying it wrong. Ishak is in the chat. Hello, Ishak. How are you after our banter last night? Me calling you out for being a bit snaky on other channels talking about Perchy and I. We see you, mate. We see you.
Eyes everywhere, my friend.
We've got Luan. Big up, my man. Hope you are well. All must be very exciting in your world over there in Man United with 3 companies now, I believe. A Finnish company, the Qataris, and Jim Ratcliffe is English, isn't he? His company. So we've got Nigel Watson in the chat, Tequila's in the chat, SOF, lots and lots of people in the chat. Let's start off. Guys, it's been a week. It's been a week, nearly a week to the hour that's Antonio Conte with his famous explosive interview. Have we all been getting our knickers in a twist about absolutely nothing? Because he's still here, isn't he? I mean, he's in Italy. I don't know who just goes to Italy during the
He's on holiday, isn't he? I thought.
Again, another.
I think he's just booked a week's holiday off. I'm calling it. I think he went with his boss and said, "Can I have this week off?" And he's decided he's sunning it up in Italy. He's going to come back all refreshed, and he's going to be a happy Conte when he comes back. Or not, maybe.
Absolutely. I mean, Kuva, have we all been getting our knickers in a twist for something that's not happening, i.e. Conte's not going? Is he staying?
Yeah, absolutely. He's staying. Everything's fine.
Yeah, everything.
Yep, the treble's still on. I mean, the double's still on. Oh, wait. No, we're going to win the league.
Can we mathematically win the league?
Shall I have a look?
We can't we?
It's on the grass bit that we seem to struggle with this sort of thing.
Yeah. Mathematically, we can. Actually doing it on the grass isn't good.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's strange, isn't it? Because all reports you read now, it's like this morning, Sky Sports are running with that Nagelsmann is open to discussing terms with Tottenham Hotspur, but yet Antonio Conte is still the manager. It just all feels a bit of a circus, like the headline says, but actually, could it be that there is no circus at all and that we're all just talking about something that isn't in the offing until the summer?
Go for it, Perchy. I'll just decide if you're right or not.
I think it's... I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the talk of him going has been going on all week. There's obviously genuinely something going on if we're talking seriously for a second, that something is definitely happening. It was quite incredible that the other day when we heard the news that Nagelsmann was getting sacked by Bayern Munich, there was a period on that at that moment where that we were talking about Spurs getting a new manager and Bayern Munich getting a new manager while still not officially sacking their manager.
Yeah.
Incredible. Everyone was saying Nagelsmann's going to be the new Spurs manager. Tuchel's going to be the new Bayern Munich manager. And at that exact moment, neither manager had been sacked at the exact moment. It was incredible. Who knows? Listen, if he's back in charge of Tottenham for the Everton game, I will be absolutely gobsmacked.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, I put a poll out on this stream, Kuva, asking whether or not people think that what my three options. The three options were: when will Conte leave? Will it be before Everton, end of the season, or he won't? And 13% think that he won't leave. So 13% think he'll be our manager next year. 38% said at the end of the season, and 51% think he'll be gone by the time we play Everton Monday week, I believe. Do you think he'll be in charge of the Everton game?
Go, Kuva, you go, mate.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule anything out with this club. I really wouldn't. We're kept so in the dark with everything that happens. It could be just a case of looking at longer term replacement for him. If he gets top four at the end of the day, which is still on course for, he does fit what Levy requires from him. So
he does, yeah.
So that is a big factor in it. So that we'll talk about Stellini taking over, but I mean, if Stellini is taking charge, that's pretty much the same thing as Conte being there, isn't it?
It's absolutely the same thing. The football under him was no different to under Conte. It was 10 men behind the ball, counter attack. And I think everyone went a bit overhyped with that, Kuva, because he was here for the Man City win, right? I think he was the one in the dugout for the day we beat Man City 1-0. But yeah, we don't want. I mean, if Conte goes for me, I want that whole philosophy out the door. I don't know about you guys. I don't want any more counter attacking. I don't want any more turgid. Look, I'm all for three at the back if it's played properly. I'm okay for three at the back if it's played properly. But look, I mean, Perchi, will he be here Monday week? Is he going to be here, Antonio Conte?
I was thinking about your poll, and I was thinking there is one that you didn't put on there that is plausible. That he doesn't get sacked he doesn't leave until the end of his contract, but then doesn't manage us until the end of the season. There's a part of me that has a weird feeling that we're not going to get rid of him. We're just going to say, we don't want you anymore. We'll keep paying you as normal. Blah, blah, blah. But we don't want you at this football club anymore. And
that fits the Stellini bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that makes me think that we're going to just stick it out now with someone like a Stellini or Mason, whoever the club decide that that's how we want to do it, and go, do you know what, Conte, you're not welcome back. And it kind of feels that way at the moment, because you'd have thought if we were going to get rid of him, we'd have just got rid of him. We'd have sacked him and we'd have paid it off. And the other thing is that we may not be, because if we haven't got if this clause that everyone's talking about in his contract, that if we do sack him, he is entitled to the extension year. That tells me we will not get rid of him and pay him an extra 15 million quid.
Who put that in the contract? I mean,
whoever did that is insane.
Well, it's especially when you look at it from a chairman's point of view. We know he must know he fires people at a regular basis.
Right, yeah.
So if he gets backed into this kind of corner, what an idiot.
Yeah.
It's on him, isn't it? He's the one that stands to look really stupid out of all this.
The question is who put that in the contract? That's the question mark. Was it Paratici or was it Levy? That's the question, because if that's the case, if that is the case, there's a part of me I'm now tin hat is put on my head right now. Tin hat perch is on. Is this if there's a case that it was Paratici that put that in there, could that understand the rumours that he could also be getting sacked?
Well, I think it doesn't matter, does it? I mean, it's a contract. It's been agreed. It doesn't matter who suggested it. They all agreed it. That's it. So, I mean, they would have had all their lawyers going through it with a fine-tooth comb. If somebody doesn't pick up on that glaring, obvious thing and pointed out
Mad,
that
isn't it?
he's surrounded
Mind-boggling.
himself by fools, and he's the
Agreed.
biggest one of the lot of them. So
Madness, I know.
it doesn't really matter who suggested it, does it?
No,
If
but
it even
it's
exists.
crazy though, right? Kuva, it's crazy. I mean,
Insane.
I'd love that clause in my contract where I work.
Yeah,
We're gonna sack you, but we're gonna give you a year's pay. Cool. Well, I'll have a year off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Absolutely fine with me.
I'll be honest. I'm shocked. I'm more shocked at Conte. If that was the case and he knew about it, I'd have done that earlier. He knew we were crap for a long time. He's been saying, "What if he knew that if they'd sacked him, he would have got an extra year?" Let's be frank and honest. We're talking about it as a football club, and the fact that we love. We'd have probably done the same if we were operating the way he's feeling at the moment.
Yeah, it's just strange. I mean, are we linking these two together, Kuva? Like when I say these two, I mean Conte and Paratici. I.e., is it tenable for Paratici to stay if Conte leaves, considering Paratici would have overseen the Conte debacle, the Nuno debacle. I think he wanted Gattuso in. He's not. For me, I don't think he's done a great job either. Obviously with the whole finance scandal going on in Italy, is it comprehensible that we're going to keep one and not the other?
For me, separate issues, so it's possible, and the big but is the fact that Paratici has made some horrendous decisions, and he's got himself banned from it trading in Italy as well. So there's the very fact that part of the director of football's job is to get the players out as well, isn't it? And we haven't managed that. There's just a huge backlog of players on loan waiting to go out, and we can't shift them. I think he's been a big failure, Paratici.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree with you.
People saying he's done well. My rate his entire tenure is 3 out of 10. It's summed up by that summer transfer window for me. Yeah. Players coming in that don't even get in the team, out on loan. We didn't really improve the first team that much. It was just squad filling out again. I think he's made some horrendous choices.
Oh, I do. I
think
the
so.
Brian Hill deal alone, what a load of money squandered on that. And both players back at the original club, and we paid them for it.
Yeah, and exactly. I was just gonna add, just onto that point about Paratici, the players that people talk about him doing a good job are 3 players he got from his old club. Romero, Bentancur, and Kulusevski all came realistically from Juventus.
Yeah. I agree.
And you sit back and go, apart from those 3, has anyone else been amazing? You could argue maybe Porro, but it's a bit too early to say. But apart from that, he hasn't really signed anyone that good, has he?
Yeah, that's the thing for me, guys, is I think with the money that's been spent, I'm all for you don't have to spend 50, 60 million pounds on a player. I'm a firm believer in that. If you look at so many of the signings that come into this league and we go, God, where did they get him from? He was only 15 million. For me, the amount that Paratici has spent, and this is where I don't look, the whole Daniel Levy thing we'll talk about later, but we've spent money, we've spent it so poorly. So poorly. So I read somewhere the other day, and somebody in the chat will tell me if I'm lying here. I'm not lying, but misrepresenting. I think since Paratici's been here, I'm sure we've spent something like £300 million in 4 windows, which is a good amount of money, right? And in all of that time, we've not addressed centre-back, right? All right, you could say 1 in Romero. We've not addressed centre-back. We've not added an ounce of creativity into the midfield. We've still left ourselves with Perisic and Davis and Sessegnon as the left-sided options. We've brought in strikers for 60 million that don't play or can't even play, should we say. It just feels, Kuva, that money, we could have got some real smart additions to this squad, couldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. You just look at what other clubs around us are doing. We keep coming back to it. The 2 prime examples, Brentford and Brighton.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
It's shoestring budget, and look what you can do with it. They've got good teams, well established in the Premiership now. No danger of them going down, and they're getting dreams of going even higher now, aren't they? They're pushing for for European places. Fulham as well. They've made some good investments. They've got themselves in a nice, comfortable position this season too.
Yep.
It can be done. All we've got to look at is having that kind of template, but we're at a slightly higher level than that. We can do it with slightly more quality on the players we're bringing in if we want to. We can go big occasionally if we desire it. The likes of Brighton and Brentford won't be doing that. But if we just go at that kind of level, just really go and do the research on these players, do the proper scouting, full in depth, what sort of character they've got, spending the time talking with the player through exactly what their ambitions are for the club, where the way they see it going forward, what style of football we want to be playing. Just get it all so it all marries together properly. Because at the moment, it just feels like this higgledy-piggledy mess, and I've been waiting to say that word all day, I think.
Higgledy-piggledy. I like it. I like it.
I do as well.
I mean, one of the key things is this, and Q7, big up to yourself, my friend. I said, the real question is, do you want top four? We want Levy out, but we want to keep providing the one thing he cares about. I don't care if Conte is here or not last 10 games. What's he doing next season? Now, if we break that down, Kuva, Perchi, both of you, it is strange, isn't it? Because a lot of people, when I sit here quite openly, as you guys do, and say, yeah, we want Conte gone, the first thing a lot of people say back is, if he goes, we won't get top four. Are you guys bothered by that? Like, I know Levy is. That's a separate discussion. As football fans of this club, guys, do you care about getting top four this season and Champions League next year?
I'll go first if you want, Kuva. No, I mean, be honest, couldn't care less. I think the Champions League realistically papers over everything. Apart from the season we got to the final, I don't remember the last time we went and gave it a real go in the Champions League. I feel like we're just there as it's a good money spinner and it's a good way to make a load of money. But for me, but also I want us to be more respectful of the other European trophies. We as a fan base absolutely disrespect the other two European trophies. Yeah. And for a football club that doesn't win a lot, we don't.
Sorry, win a lot.
We don't win. Well, exactly. But my point being is we don't win anything like enough for us to sort of go, oh, we're better than the Europa League. We're better than the Europa Conference League. How? Based on what? I have people telling me when we were in the Conference League last season going, thank God we're out of that. Why? Because we're not going to win anything else. And that was an opportunity to win a trophy. I don't care about Champions League. I think it just papers over everything. And people tell me that we get better players getting in the Champions League. And not one person ever tells me a better player that we've got that was in the Champions League that we couldn't get in the Europa League. And I always aim it back and go, we've actually got better players when we've been in the Europa League.
Yeah, I mean, Kuva, are you on the same page? I mean, what does Champions League football? I know people get all giddy for the Champions League music, but do you care if we're lining up in that or the Europa League next year? Do you really care?
If nothing's changing with the setup of the club, then I'd prefer. Well, it doesn't matter, does it?
No,
we'll be getting Champions League for extra money to do what? Waste it on players that don't really fit.
Yeah,
same as always. Europa League, I agree with Perchi. I mean, we've had this conversation quite recently as well. I'd love us to follow the route of someone like Sevilla. If we're not good enough to get in this really challenge for the title, concentrate on the cups.
Yeah.
Europa League would be a great thing to win. We haven't had a European trophy since 1984. That's a hell of a long time.
And you're bang on. Imagine if we'd swapped what Sevilla had won in the last couple of decades. We'd have taken that. We would have snapped our hands off to win. Was it? What did we counted it? Was it 5 Europa Leagues or 4?
6 Europa Leagues or UEFA Cup equivalent.
6 UEFA. Yeah. You'd sit there and you'd have snapped their hands off for that.
God, yeah. Europa League every 3 or 4 years. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep hearing. Look, the way I feel is this. Look, we obviously had a long back and forth conversation yesterday on WhatsApp. I think the key thing for me, guys, is this. Lots of fans, I think, can't see past the end of their nose. It's like this year, oh my God, we must get fourth. For me as a football fan, I'd be happier to enjoy the Europa League more with clubs that we relatively should be competing with. I don't think we should be competing in the Champions League, if I'm honest.
No.
And even if we didn't make Europe, I wouldn't care. But so many people seem to think that this is the be-all and end-all, and that's the miracle that Conte bought last year, guys. It was, and he keeps telling everyone it's a miracle as well, which I think has really overhyped what he's actually done here, if that makes sense, Perchi.
No, exactly. And do you know what I find really hypocritical about the whole, when Conte goes, it's a miracle to get into the Champions League with this squad. I sit there, and the same people that sit there and say Conte's a winner, but then also would say, if those comments were said by, let's just say, Pochettino, for argument's sake, would have said, why is he only achieving top 4? That's what the owners want. You sort of see my point. Conte's coming out with comments like this, and people can spin it however they want, and they can spin it to fill the narrative. But if someone like a Pochettino went and said, well, he's only saying that because that's what the owners want, but Conte's saying it somehow he's directing it at the owners. Whereas for me, I think he should be saying this, we should not be aiming for top 4. We should be looking to win trophies.
Well, just quickly, Percy, I mean, when I look at this, right, so I'm seeing Drake Box fan is saying, come on, guys, getting Champions League is important. And then said, this talk is so stupid. And then my mate Faz, who is, I think, wrong on 95% of whatever he tells me never, ever happens, has come on to say, how can you not care about Champions League no matter what? But Kuva, why are there fans with it? Like, what is it that I should care about as a fan right now with Champions League? I get it if you're Newcastle, right?
It's
if Newcastle get it,
yeah, it's the glamour of it, isn't it? Big names from other leagues, that's it. Might play against them. But then you have to look at it, fans clamouring for top 4, celebrating it, then come for the draw for the group stages. I hope we get an easy group. I hope we don't draw anyone big. Why? What's the point? It's like hanging on to the shirt tails of the big bully and thinking you're one of them. It's like when it comes to actually stand on your own, you've got no chance. We're just trying to avoid teams before we get battered. What's the point in that? I'd much prefer to be in something like a Europa League and have a realistic chance of winning it and actually put our eggs into that basket and have a go.
Exactly.
James, it's purely a cosmetic thing for us.
I don't get why people are saying all this. It's mad.
Can I just say, hang on. No one said we actively don't want top 4. I think if you actually, again, really important that people listen. What we're saying is, are you bothered? I didn't say actively don't try and get top 4, but this whole notion that, we can't get top 4 unless Conte's here, right? I don't care. Look how bad we were in the Champions League this year. Now, if I'm right, we've played 8 games in the Champions League this year. Is that correct? 6 group games?
6, 8, yeah.
And then Milan. Now, off the top of my head, I think, so we lost to Sporting Lisbon, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, lost to Sporting, drew to them.
Lost and drew to Sporting.
Yeah, lost and drew to Sporting. We
lost and drew to Milan.
Lost and drew to Milan. We beat Marseille at their place. We beat them at our place. And who's the other one in our group again? Someone just hit me.
Marseille, wasn't it?
No, I just said Marseille. There was
sorry.
Frankfurt.
Frankfurt. We beat. No, we drew at our place, didn't we? And
I think we drew with them away and beat them at home.
I'll do that.
So we've won 3 of the 8 Champions League games. Is that right?
In a group that you would see in the Euro, you would have gone, that's a tough group in the Europa League. Let's be honest.
And then got knocked out in the knockout stages by a team that was on such bad form, and yet they just cruised past us.
A team that was getting beaten all around of Italy at the time. It was insane. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, I get it. Listen, I'm not saying anybody should think, again, when I talk on here, I'm not speaking for Kuva and Perchi. They're adults. I talk for me. I'm not talking as you should think this. Just for me, I don't care. Right? I've just watched 6 awful group games. I don't remember enjoying a single, Kuva, if you remember some of the Champions League games under Redknapp, some of the Champions League games under Poch.
Memorable one. Yeah,
great games. This group we should have flown out of this group.
Savva, even the games we lost with those two managers, you still remember them. As the one that we'll always remember is Inter Milan, won't we? We lost the game, but you'll never forget that game. Kind of put Bale on the pedestal that he probably deserved. And I think you're right. Not one of the games in the Europa League. Do you know what? And I'll be honest, and I genuinely, and minus the Milan game because it happened more recently, but in the groups, there's only I actually think I can only remember one moment in the group that I can remember, and that was Højbjerg scoring in the 92nd minute because he when he beat Milan
at Marseille.
When he beat Marseille because they needed to score, didn't they, to qualify?
Yeah, wasn't it whoever scored knocked the other team out, right? Wasn't it at that stage in that game, right?
We were going through on the draw, but second in the group. But if we'd won the game, we'd have topped the group. But if Marseille had scored, they'd have knocked us out. And it was one of those. But I'll be honest, that was the only moment I'm not making this up. It's genuinely the only moment in the group stage I can remember. I can't tell you if I can remember any of the other stuff because I can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Drake, I'm not sure what's silly about the conversation. You've got to remember that we've literally just had 8 Champions League games where we've looked absolutely diabolical. We haven't played, for me, I don't feel like we've played a single top team in the competition.
No. That,
for me, Kuva, felt reminiscent of Europa League of years gone by, what we've just done. Would you agree with that? Or
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, in answer to Drake and those sort of comments, I'll pose this question. What would you prefer for next season? Get absolutely spanked in the quarterfinals of the Champions League by somebody like Real Madrid, or force our way through and win a Europa League? Because I think one of those is likely to happen. That get spanked by some of the likes of Real Madrid. But the Europa one, I think we should be able to put together a team to challenge for that.
No reasons. There's no reason, but there's no reasons why we can't do anything in the Europa League. And the notion, the narrative is always, oh, it's tough playing Thursday, Sunday. What's the difference between Wednesday, Saturday?
Yeah, I've never ever understood this argument at all.
It's tough playing Thursday, Sunday, but most of our games get moved to a Sunday anyway because we end up playing on TV. But Mark, no, that's a good one. Richarlison did score it in the Champions League again. But I couldn't tell you who he scored against. I'll be honest. I remember it
he got 2 headers against a 10-man Marseille, didn't he? Listen, I'm not sitting here saying we shouldn't get Champions League. My whole point in all of this is I just don't care. Like, if we get it, cool, we get it. But we all know we're not going to use it as a vehicle to drive change and get better players, don't we, Kuva? We know that we won't go out and go, right, let's get some top Champions League caliber players through the door.
Yeah, I mean, this whole situation is built for Champions League is only going to be good for us if we're changing what happens at this club. Just a change of manager, it's going to be an irrelevance again. I think this whole idea of top 4 or nothing, it means nothing to me. Trophies at the end of the day, we talk about, sorry, I'm going a bit off point, but trophies at the end of the day, for me, I've never changed my tune. I want great football and I want some silverware. Yeah. No, that's what we should be aiming at. Champions League is a pipe dream. We're never going to get that. It was an outrageous combination of flukes that got us to there a few years back. You're not allowed to say that. Followed by that Man City game with VAR being the champion of the day for us. We got away with murder that year. Most years we get absolutely humiliated by somebody. So
Kuva, I was just on that Champions League run. It's mad though, the luck we had. If you put I think you can put a whole hand of 5 bits of luck that we got through that. I talk about it so much to people, and people get really annoyed when you talk about that Champions League run when we got to that final about being really lucky. Look how many different bits of luck that you would go, okay, if it happened once, you go, fair enough. It happened 5 times. Kane's late goal against PSV. If we doesn't score that, we're knocked out. Lucas Moura's goal with 5 minutes to go against Barcelona. If that doesn't happen, we get knocked out. PSV beating an Inter Milan side that they didn't need to beat because they were already knocked out. Doesn't happen very rarely. Then you go move to the Raheem Sterling goal. Any other day of the week doesn't get ruled out because it's a bit of a VAR luck. and then Lucas Moura's hat-trick in Ajax. When does that ever happen? Very rarely. And I said, and people get really annoyed when you talk about it. And I say it to people, I go, let's be honest. If this was any other football club that wasn't Spurs, you'd have gone, God, you got lucky to that final. And everyone, when rival fans say they go, and Spurs fans get so defensive about it, going, yeah, but we still got to the final. I went, yeah, but we didn't win it. If we won it, I'd gone, do you know what? Fair enough. I'll ride my luck and win it.
Yeah, for sure. But you still, even if you manage to fluke a win against somebody, and you still got to look at actually how did you perform. You can't just assume that's going to be the key to success.
I look at the whole thing, and I said, like, yeah, listen, I was going crazy when we knocked out Ajax in that semi-final. I was going berserk. I think every single one of us was. But I think if you take a step back and look at it broadly, and you go, like, that's what it was. But
yeah. Just a couple of points here. Let's start with Faz. As always, I said, I suggest you call the channel Conte out. Then no need for a debate about it. Listen, Faz, I know you like him and you want him to stay, but other people are also allowed to say they don't want him to be the manager of the club. So I don't know what the sly little dig's for.
You come hardly like it's just this channel, is it? Like Conte out is a lot of people saying.
Yeah,
a lot of people want him out. And let's be fair, right? It's not even the fans that just want him out. The guy clearly wants out himself. Yeah. Look at what he's been saying. That's not a happy man. That's not a happy guy at all.
But Savva, even if he hadn't said those things, and when people go about Conte, he still hasn't signed a contract. He was going in 3 months anyway. So when people sort of go, oh, I want Conte to stay, he doesn't want to stay. The manager himself, if he wanted to be at this football club, he would have signed an extension ages ago. He hasn't wanted to be here all season. Let's be frank and honest. And regardless of the outburst or not, he wouldn't. I don't think he would have signed a new contract anyway. So I don't get where the belief is that we need to support him. He doesn't want to be here.
Yeah, it's a good comment here. Daz are saying you need luck to win any cup. I totally agree.
Of course you do.
But you should be doing everything you can in the meantime to put yourself in a position where you have a chance at that. And I argue that we don't do that.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. Like, I was really disappointed when we were in the Conference League last year. I was disappointed. That should have been, I'm not going to be arrogant and say slam dunk, but that should have been a competition where we're looking at it going, yeah, that's got Tottenham written all over it. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. We should have been going deep into that, the way that Jose did with Roma. Win what's in front of you. But instead, our fans, we got knocked out, and loads of our fans, not all of them, were, it's a Mickey Mouse Cup anyway.
Exactly. Don't trick. It really irritates me. Everyone was going on about the Conference League, saying it's not great, and I sit there and go, "Why not?" It meant something to one of the most successful managers in our generation. In this decade, in the last 2 decades, one of the most successful managers was sitting there crying, lifting that trophy, and we have the arrogance winning one trophy in one trophy since the millennium, and we think we're bigger than it.
And do you remember when the likes of Chelsea win the Europa League?
Yeah, Man United.
I remember them celebrating and really enjoying it.
Of course.
Yeah, because for us, it's like Mickey Mouse, is it?
No. I want to address this point, right? If we don't get Champions League, it will impact our transfer business in the summer. Not only financially, but also the players we can attract and keeping Kane at the club. It's massive. Now, Terry, what I don't understand about this is, and I'm going to throw this out to everyone, I'm going to ask Kuva and Perchi, but I'm going to throw this out to everyone. Who is the best player we have signed in a summer where we were going into Champions League football the next season?
Oof.
Because my memory of a lot of these windows going into Champions League seasons, Ndombele, Lo Celso, Clark, Sessegnon, Richarlison, Spence, Longley, you get my drift, right? So where is the proof? Is there any proof in the pudding that when we get Champions League, it gets us better players and we can attract better players?
But I think, Savva, those names you've listed, if we were in the Europa League, we would have been able to sign those players. Let's be honest.
I agree. That's my point.
But do you know what? I've got a thing about this, actually, about the spending and these sort of players. Do you know what? Actually, in a weird way, maybe being in the Europa League may not be that bad, because maybe we'd be able to actually go and actually scout players that fit our system and not pay over the odds for players. People think that being in the Champions League goes and gets you amazing players. That only matters if you are Bayern Munich, Juventus, Chelsea, Man United, all these big names, because and I always say it's the top echelon of players. For example, the Mbappes, the Haalands, they're not going to go and sign for a team in the Europa League, regardless of what team it is. I don't get where we as a fan base think that, and do you know what it is we've been sold it, and we've been kind of brainwashed by the media thinking that the Champions League is the be all and end all. When Sky Sports had the Champions League, it was all about the top 4 race. And it all is now. We're ingrained in thinking that is some sort of achievement now. But actually, you sit back and go, actually, it's not really. We have enough spending power to outspend all of Europe. We have enough spending power, regardless of what people think. We can outspend all of Europe. Europe at the moment is struggling financially. They look at the Premier League and go, what is going on over there? They've got all the money. There's a reason why the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona are so needed in the Super League, because they need money. They're skin. We can outspend all these teams. Doesn't say that we're going to sign players over them because they're a bigger football club than us. But we can outspend them. But it's about spending correctly.
No, I agree. Kuva, lots of people saying Rafael van der Vaart, which of course was probably for me the last top player we signed. I don't mean a player we signed that then went on. Like Modric was a relatively unknown, scouted well. Bale was young, but Van der Vaart was the one.
Even Hugo was just like, the next big thing to be coming out of France at the time.
Right.
He wasn't established yet, was he?
So Van der Vaart I would agree with, but even then, wasn't that like a last minute kind of?
We got lucky with
because
that.
Because he was out of favour, wasn't it? It's not because he was like in a team.
Yeah, we got offered him from Real Madrid. His agent came to us.
I mean, James, listen, I like the thinking, James, but the problem is I hear this every year. This is the problem. Every year I hear, must get Champions League. It will attract better players. Then when we get into a summer transfer window, who's the best player we attracted in the summer, guys? Who was the best player we signed in the summer? On paper, I would say Basuma.
I'd say Paratici.
I would have said Basuma. Yeah, as well. I don't know. Basuma. I was gonna say. Do you know what? It could have been. It could have been Richarlison, but it hasn't really worked out. But yeah, Basuma's not a good point. I thought Basuma was a great signing I was very happy when we signed him.
At the time, Perisic for me, because he was one of those players with that established name, and we thought, wow, that's a real jump up in quality. Mm-hmm. He hasn't worked out, but at the time, I thought great signing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, so many saying Champions League definitely helps. I'm asking when. When has it definitely helped? I mean, when was the last time? So we got Champions League. The time before that was the Ndombele time, right? It was that window. Yeah. The time before that, who did we bring it? Like, I'm struggling to see good names that have. Okay, put it this way: who have been our best signings in the last 5 years?
Or last best signings?
Best signings. So we'll go what? Romero.
Signed in the Europa League Conference League.
Hang on. No, you're completely killing my point. It's all right. You've killed my point before I got to make it.
Sorry.
My point is Kulu.
Yeah.
Bentancur.
Yep.
Romero. Right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at those signings, would you argue they've been our best 3 in the last 4 or 5 years?
I think that's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
Not one of them signed when we had Champions League football.
I know.
So this narrative that we can't pick up players without Champions League football. Look at Arsenal. Yeah. Arsenal went and signed 2 Premier League serial winners in Jesus and Zinchenko whilst being in the Europa League. Newcastle signed Bruno Guimaraes whilst they were in a relegation battle. Right?
Well, Man United's a prime example. I mean, you can argue it's slightly different because it's Man United, but they went and brought Paul Pogba in, regardless how it worked out for him. Signed Paul Pogba when they were in the Europa League. They went and spent nearly 90 million quid on him. And this is the thing though, and I think, as I said, I feel like people are now in the sense that it's brainwashed that we can sign great players in the Champions League. When is it? And the thing is for me, I look at history. History tells me it won't happen. Because people go, we get to the Champions League, we're going to sign amazing players. We didn't this window. Everyone was telling me, and we had all singing and dancing Antonio Conte at this club, and we still didn't go and buy a, in air quotes, marquee signing. And as I said, none of the players we signed in any of the windows had any bearing if we were in the Champions League. We'd have signed all of them if we were in the Europa League.
Let me ask then, Kuva. So if we look at the players we just mentioned there, and then let's look at Poch's famous 11 of Lloris, Walker, Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Rose, Wanyama, Dembele, Ali, Eriksson, Son, Kane. How many of that 11, I don't know the answer, I'm just asking if anyone else can, how many of that 11 was signed during Champions League summer windows?
Wait, say them again? Say it all again?
The Spurs 11, the Spurs famous 11 under Poch that didn't win anything. Were any of them signed during a window when we were heading into a Champions League season? Because I think Lloris wouldn't have been.
No, Lloris wasn't. Lloris definitely was when we were in the Europa League.
Walker and Rose were signed as kids when we weren't in Champions League.
I mean, regardless, I think that's irrelevant because even if we'd signed them, they're not Champions League quality players either when we signed them. So I think you can easily make a pass on that. Alderweireld and Vertonghen was definitely Europa League. So
you get my point, right?
That's
you
a great point. So that one you just put up just a second ago just literally proves the point.
Right.
Zoko
Okay.
and Llorente we signed in the Champions League.
Right. This is my point. So listen, in theory, Kuva, Champions League should attract better players, right? In theory, that is a correct theory. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Should be.
But in practice, I think all of our best signings have been when we've actually not had Champions League football. Now, I don't know whether that's because that's in the pursuit of Champions League football, and then we get Champions League and go, it's all right, we'll go with what we've got. But yeah.
At the end of the day, we should be able to attract reasonably good players because we're a club of this stature. We got enough to pay big wages. We're regularly in the top half of the table in one of the strongest teams in the world. That's enough to attract decent players. There's none of this, the extra bit of Champions League. Perhaps that might attract some of the elite players, but it hasn't worked out for us.
Just quickly, James, again, I haven't taken an extreme stance. Listen to what I'm saying. You do this a lot, James, and I see you do it in the comments section of other YouTube channels when you're talking about me, right? I haven't taken an extreme stance. I've asked the guests on my show how fundamentally important is Champions League to buying top players, right? I didn't say it's pointless getting top four. You've not heard that come out of my mouth. What I'm asking is it fundamental that we do? That is what I'm asking. I don't know if you understand how debates work. If I just said everything you wanted to hear, we wouldn't have very good conversations on stream, would we?
To be fair, I'm going to go with the stance it is pointless.
Getting Champions League. Well, you can, but I didn't say it.
Because I'm sticking with it. I don't see the point in entering a competition we cannot win at the expense of a competition that we possibly could.
But I love this. I love this. Look at this point, Kuva. Look at this point.
It just sums it up, doesn't it?
This is where I do not understand our fan base. The point is, Savva, the Bastonis and Vardials that Conte wanted will want Champions League football. I hate to break it to you. Bastoni and Vardial are not joining Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. I truly hate to break it to you that the reason they're not going to join Spurs isn't because we might get in the Europa League. Anyone disagree? Anyone think they could join?
If they fall off the face of the cliff and, they play poorly for about 3 years in a row, might get them then.
So exactly, you're absolutely bang on though with that point. But you sit there and say, but we didn't sign them though. We didn't sign them. This is the narrative. But they didn't come to Tottenham whilst we were in the Champions League. So everyone says they needed Champions League football. They needed actually to go to the best club, and they will go to the best club, because we all know Vardiols and the Bastonis will end up at probably Juventus, and Vardiol will probably end up at Manchester City.
Oh, Vardiol's going to Madrid.
Yeah,
City,
he's going to go to one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Chelsea, someone that will whack down. And thanks, Wayne. Yeah, listen, I heard it as it came out of my mouth, but Faz, my man, is back. Faz, you do realise that Paratici has signed 17 players for Tottenham Hotspur. He signed nearly a whole squad of players. So I would like to think that 3 of them were good. Yes. Well done. 3 out of 17.
But as I say, Faz,
just on that quickly, and also add to it, couldn't even manipulate the loans going out, so we had to cancel Doherty's contract just to make room for more going out that we can't sell. He's doing an awful job.
He's doing a terrible job.
As I said earlier, though, the 3 people he named there are the 3 players that he knew about, and if he thought about if you use Bentancur and Kulusevski as an example, yes, we signed them on deadline day. But if we wanted them on day one, why did we not sign them at the beginning of the window? We wanted other players, and we got lucky with them too. That's the big difference.
Bang on. If you noticed, a lot of our good signings, right, other than Romero, who's, I believe, relatively
near the beginning of the window, the summer window,
right? Bentancur and Kulusevski, last couple of days of the window. Van der Vaart, if I'm not wrong, from Real Madrid, was the last 8 hours of the window. Was it right at
the end?
Right. And I seem to remember, and that, I think that was the time, if I remember rightly, that the phrase Kuva was coined of Levy time. Do you remember? It was, oh my God, Levy time, because we managed to get Van der Vaart over the line. I just think that, cool, we get Champions League, great. If we don't, nothing changes for me. My year has not been enriched by watching Spurs in the Champions League this year. I don't know about you. I think, if anything, it's actually made us look silly. I thought we were absolutely dreadful in both legs against AC Milan. We had 3 shots on target, Kuva, against Milan over 180 minutes. 2 of them were Kane headers. And one of them, if you remember, was Højbjerg, who got the ball on the edge of the box, danced past a couple of players, and then saw his shot parried over by the keeper. And this was
the very fact it was like a flip of a coin who went through in a group that was very poor on paper. That's like our big Champions League crusade this year, wasn't it? Then going again, comes down to AC Milan. The reward was go to 1 knockout game, and we're pathetic in it. One shot on target in the 2 matches, was it?
Is this David?
Nah, David.
Is that you? That's not you, is it, David? Is that you?
No way.
I can't be seeing that. It doesn't sound like something he'd say, does it? Brian, absolutely agreed. Guys, take over 1 second.
Actually, I'm hoping it is David, because that was funny.
This is Kuva Heritage TV, ladies and gentlemen. How is everybody today?
Anyway, what are we going then? If we get Nagelsmann, or Nagelsmann, sorry, it should be.
Nagelsmann.
Do you think we're going to be changing the rest with it, Perchi? Do you think we're going to be like new director of football, sort of a complete makeover of the running side of things?
You know my thoughts. I would change it all. I'd go get most of the staff out, get most of like the sort of director of football and all that crap, and go, do you know what? And you know my thoughts. I've said this. If Nagelsmann is the man, sorry, I get it wrong, whoever, if I'm right or wrong, whatever. For me, I would go, do you know what? We're going to give you a 5-year contract with the extension of 2 years after. And the plan is over 7 years. What our plan is to do is we're going to build and invest a long-term strategy with you and go, do you know what? And the first 2 years, we're not going to judge you. We're not going to judge you on waving it. As long as you don't get us relegated, we're not going to judge you. So it gives us 4 transfer windows to offload all the junk. Go, do you know what? Identify the players within our squad that you want to keep a hold of. Identify them from minute one. Once you've done that, the rest of them, we're going to bring in a director of football that is going to offload these players. We're going to get in someone, and that's their job. We're getting someone in to offload them. You use the scouts that you have to identify the players that fit your system. We will bring in what we can under the correct financial stabilities at the football club. And we have to also remember we're not going to go and buy everyone. People think this national United. We're not going to go out there and go and buy Upamecano, all these, and Bayern Munich. Realistic head on, guys. Everyone in the chat, but we say over those 4 windows, we're not going to judge you as long as you don't get relegated. It doesn't matter if you finish 4th or 14th. We don't care as a football club because the plan is long-term, short-term problems for long-term gain.
Yeah, bang on. This is what we were supposed to have done under Pochettino as well, wasn't it?
Yep.
He detailed it out. The first year was going to be assess the players. Second year was going to be get rid of the players that he thinks aren't right for this club. And third year is bring in some of the players that do. And then the third year is when you put it all together and you start playing that style you're expecting. These are projects for a reason. They do take time to pull together.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be seeing them given time. I think we've got an incredibly impatient fan base now, as well as fed up.
And do you know? I think the impatience came from bringing in the likes of Jose and Conte, because you bring in managers like that, you sit there and go, do you know what? We're expected to win now. We brought in managers that win. So, and I get it, by the way. When you bring in the Joses and the Contes into your football club, you do expect success. I did. I'm not even going to. I'm not one of these that didn't. I said, we've now brought in Conte. I know I'm going to hate the football, but I'll get behind it because I know he wins stuff. Did the same with Jose. But I think we need to rein in our ambition. Not saying that we shouldn't be, because I think there's no reason, as I said with my 5-year plan that I said, there is no reason in those first 2 years where I said you're not going to get judged that we can't go and win a cup. I would love us to go, do you know what? The first 2 seasons, we're not worrying about the league as long as we don't get relegated, which we won't do. We're good enough to not get relegated. I always put that as a caveat. And I look at it and go, do you know what? Why don't we just go and commit in the cups, and the League Cup and the FA Cup? Why not? When we talk about teams resting players here and there and everywhere, we're not. We're going to go full bam attack on them. And do you know what? If we get knocked out, at least we've given it a go. And then once we've offloaded these the dross players that he doesn't want, we start again. If we're going to have to take pain of ripping up contracts and paying out contracts to the likes of Ndombele, Lo Celso, Perisic probably will be another one that you'd have to do. X, Y, and Z. Listen, I wouldn't even care if we've had to go out and pay 40 million quid to rip up 10 contracts. Listen, I think we have to start again. And if we have to take that short-term pain where we can't go and buy the best players here, there, and everywhere, so be it. We've got an opportunity with Nagelsmann that we can actually really succeed if done correctly, because you can go long-term with a manager like that. He's the sort of manager you could go... go long term with him.
You also look at the examples around you to give you the hope on it. Look what Arteta's done. It was really painful. They were calling for his head for first few years. Give him the time to actually do it. It can be done as long as you are backing that vision they have, which Arsenal did, to be fair to them. Hate to say it, but they did it well. Also, Klopp at Liverpool.
Yeah,
he knew it was the end of that little passage of play for him. It was the end of that little era of dominance. Then there's a rebuild coming. It's painful when that has to happen. There's no doubt about it. Pochettino knew this. Nobody wanted to listen. Nothing happened.
Agreed.
And this is the same opportunity. It's like we're talking about here. Same opportunity. We get a young manager like a Pochettino, if it is a Nagelsmann or somebody similar, if it's a Zerbi, whoever it is, there's the opportunity to actually start one of these processes and follow it through properly. Yeah. Because the one thing we know for sure is the instant win manager coming in here is going to fail.
It doesn't work. The win now managers don't work. We've tried it twice. Let's not bother again. As I said, I would take a 5 to 7 year plan where we say, do you know what? We're not going to sack you. We're going to as long as you don't relegate us, is always the caveat. As long as you win on a relegation battle, we're going to keep you here for the first 2 years and build. Get rid of gut players out. 4 windows to get rid of the dross at the football club. That should be doable.
Sorry about that, guys. Of course, the wife decides that she's going out for the day of her friends, but books in Tesco to deliver my food shop at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Lovely. And I don't know if anyone else gets their food delivered.
Well, most things do kick off on Saturdays at 3 p.m. to be honest.
But it comes in crates and not in bags, so you have to get your own bags. Pack. Oh my God, that was long. And he went, "I'll just go and get the rest." What she's ordered? We'll be having words.
Here's a tip, mate. I bought a load of plastic containers just to put by the shopping coming in. You put the container there and just load it into your own.
Nice, like that. Yes, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Domestic.
If the likes of Tesco's had any sense, then all their home delivery customers would have their own set of crates, and you can just swap them over.
I love that. So listen, I'll catch up on what I missed in a second. Big up to everyone. There's 263 of you in here. Disappointingly, only 82 likes, which means 82. Less than 1/3 of you have pressed the like button. Thank you. We've gone past the 3,800 mark as well now. We're 194 away from 4,000. So please smash the subscribe button. James Hunter, my favorite person, has said, one day it might be an idea to do a stream and look through a lens of positivity and how we go about changing things and what we have that is positive. Now,
I think James, we have been when you weren't here. I thought we were quite positive.
Well, first of all, what I'd like to say about this is, why do you watch then? It's the obvious thing if you don't like it. The second thing is, at the moment, what is it, guys, that I'm missing that's really positive at Tottenham Hotspur? We've got our star player is out of contract in a year. Stop me at any point if I'm wrong here, guys. Our star player is out of contract in a year, right? The owner, sorry, the manager's thrown an absolute temper tantrum, is in Italy, and no one knows if he's staying. Our director of football is being done for corruption, fraud, whatever you want to, financial irregularities. What is it? You know, we're not winning anything again.
Don't have all 3 cup competitions in a humiliating fashion.
Exactly. So what should I sit here and go, you know what's really positive?
And we can't even manage to sack a manager properly.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. David, I still don't know if it's David. If it is you, mate, can you just WhatsApp
it is David.
It's David.
It is definitely David.
It is David, yeah. All right, big up, David. Hope you're well. If you want to come on, David, you are, of course, welcome. We like your Sean Dyche-esque sexy voice.
I have got a positive. It's one I used way back, about a year back, on David's Irish Hotspur channel. Where we're doing I think it might have been the Arsenal watch along. And I just said, chin up, everyone. At the end of the day, that the 3.5 billion years time, the sun will explode and there'll be no more football.
Well, there we go. I mean, for Spurs fans right now, would that be okay? I love this name. Garage Classics says, "Hi, Savva. I disagree with your hypothesis that getting UEFA Champions League football did nothing for us. My money is it kept Kane at this football club." Yeah, but again, how long can we just talk about Harry Kane? Like, at what point are we going to use it to actually drive change with who we bring in from a player that we didn't bring through the academy? At what point are we going to go out and buy a Harry Kane type player off the back of Champions League? I.e., in the summer, guys, if we had gone out and bought in Dybala, right, who's having a wonderful season at Roma, a Dybala, even getting Christian Eriksen back, then I'm going, that's why we've got Champions League. But when we're using it to get Longley on loan, Forster, Spence, a 35-9, whatever he is, Perisic, it really is a bit underwhelming for me, Garage Classics. I'm sorry. What did I miss while I was away? What were you guys talking about?
Also on this one, it's helped to keep Kane. For what end? What has that achieved us? There was still nothing. So we managed to keep Kane and just been treading water.
agreed.
Ultimately, it hasn't meant anything.
Listen,
we haven't built a team again since the Pochettino one fell apart. I don't see the benefits. All we got is somebody that's banging in goals despite what the team's doing.
But no, you're absolutely spot on. And the thing is about keeping Kane here, and this is talking, as I always say before anyone says it, I am the biggest Kane fanboy ever. I will be the first person to admit it. I've got posters up here and pictures up here of him. But I sit back, proper fanboy. Trust me, it's tragic. But I think about it, and I actually go, has keeping Kane here just prolonged the problem? Not saying he's the problem before anyone says that in the
No, I hear what you mean.
But has keeping Kane here, because what Kane does is drag us over the line. What it does is Kane has allowed us to not spend money because Kane is good enough to get us into the Champions League. I think we can probably agree with that to an extent. But we know that's what the owners want. The owners want to get into the Champions League, and that's really it. And Kane has kind of allowed us not to go and spend money on players that will get us into the Champions League. Does that kind of sort of get the point what I'm trying to make here?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just quickly, I do like bringing up my man Faz's comments. He makes me laugh. Let me try and explain to you. It is amazing you are prepared. So I think that says to say it's amazing you are prepared to give any new manager time to succeed, but not with a winner like Conte. In less than a year, you started Conte out. Jesus Christ, Faz, right? If you, again, you don't listen. My whole point with Conte was, and this is what Paratici said this a number of times. Kuva has said this plus more 1,000 times. His contract was 18 months, Faz. Why do you keep going on like we're not prepared to give him time? He didn't prepare to give himself time. He signed an 18-month contract. Kuva, what am I missing here?
No, even more important, I'll add to that. The reason I don't want Conte is I cannot stand this football.
Oh,
it's
God,
unbearable.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
My bar is always set at the top. Great football and trophies. I do not accept less than that. I know some fans are saying they don't care about the football as long as we've got silverware. There's some fans that will say, as long as we're playing some attractive football, I can take it that we're not winning anything. I'll get both of those stances, but it's not for me. I'm demanding. I want both. That's what I think an elite football club, which is what we're striving to be, should always be doing. It's an insult. It's an insult to fans and the sport, in my opinion, otherwise, because it's a spectator sport. Give me spectacle. Give me something to watch.
But Kuva, and for me, the only set point I would change on that for me, on my personal standpoint, was if Conte had us in a title race, I'd accept it. But we're 20 odd points behind the league leaders at the moment. We're nowhere near. Do you know what I mean?
Who we were 2 points above at the end of last season.
Exactly. And that's for me the point. I could sit there and go, I hate the style of football, but we're in a title race. I can't argue. But we're nowhere near. We're competing with the likes of Brighton.
Do you remember the 99 Cup final against Leicester? The League Cup final. Alan Nielsen's.
I was 7, my friend.
Fair enough. Anyway, I'll give the recap of it.
Sorry, what game, sorry, Kuva?
99 Cup final. Nielsen scoring the winner.
I was
dreadful
there.
Game of football.
Awful.
Absolutely diabolical game of
awful
football.
Game.
I sat through watching that, and at the end of it, I wasn't really cheering. I was like, well, okay, we won. But it was like a relief that we'd won rather than like celebrating it. So I just cannot get over it, that sort of hurdle for some people get over where they can accept the way we're playing if the results are going right. I just can't. I've got to get a buzz from what I'm watching. It's everything's about the way we play. Playing sexy football and being told that we are the greatest team in the league in terms of watching us. That makes me feel proud of the team.
No, agreed. I do agree.
When you are everyone's second favourite team, you know something's good at your club, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we were at some points. But no, I agree with you, Kuva. It was an awful final. Obviously, there was elation at the end because, we'd managed to win a trophy. But at that point, we weren't in a 15-year trophy drought. I think our trophy before that was 8 years before. I'm saying I think it was definitely 8 years before in the 91 Cup final. But I liked the 91 Cup final. I remember that game. And, you know, I'm with you, Kuva. I'm with you. Watching football for me is really, really about me enjoying it. You know, you always say it's a spectator sport. I don't ever. Oh, hang on. Talking about spectator sports, here he is. Big up, Alex. You all right?
The main man himself.
Yeah, I'm good.
Big up, Alex.
There's no football, so it's good.
It's crap, innit, when there's no football
good weekend. No, there is, mate. Spain against Norway this evening. Check that out. That'll be.
You've been wanting to watch that all day. You've been telling me the other day you were excited
for it. Yeah.
Alex, how important is good football to you? To watch good football?
Oh, a lot, awful lot. Absolutely, I need good football. I can't do it anymore. I enjoy watching. I enjoyed watching back in 1960 when I was doing my research on, like, because I have a fresh reset and we started my channel, and I'm going to be doing some new stuff on my channel, which I'm working on right now. So yeah, and learning about the 1960, 1980, that was good football to me. Good football was back in the 1990s when you saw what you saw with the players that that was there, Zidane, the greats, Figo, those sort of teams, Barcelona, Manchester United when they were at their pomp, Arsenal were actually not that bad that time as well, and then, we had the Martin Yole, team, which was a good team. If you're talking about Tottenham, Harry Redknapp wasn't too bad either. There was a really good time when it's just like you go to a game, you expect us to win, you wouldn't worry about us winning, and then you have Pochettino, and that was the ultimate for me, if I'm really honest with you. So I like that sort of football. I like it just excites you. It gets you up off your seat. It just puts you in another moment, another in the time which you're never going to get back. It's just your own space, and that's it. You know what I mean? And that is good football for me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the thing is, I think one of the key things. Let me just go back to Phil P's comments. This is everything for me. Big up Phil P, one of the nicest guys in this community. Has said, Bill Nick built this club on the back of the row, push and run side. We have a wonderful footballing history, a glorious history. The best way to win is great football. And this is the thing. I will argue with anyone, as Kuva has for however long on my channel, all these people that say, I don't care how we do it, just win. No, I don't want to be Bolton. I don't want to be Stoke. And I'm sorry, that's how much enjoyment I get out of watching Antonio Conte's teams.
At least with Stoke, they had physicality. Like you knew that there was a bit of a battle on the pitch. Like, we give in like warm butter and a knife. It's pathetic.
I was arguing on the channel yesterday, and they were still banging on about Conte, saying, "Oh, well, Conte needs 3 or 4 years," and I was just like,
He's got 3 months. He's got 3 months.
I was just like, I just don't.
Alex, it's amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Alex, it's amazing how many people say things like, talking of this guy. It's amazing how many people go, "Oh, you want this manager gone," when the manager himself is leaving.
He wants to go.
If Antonio Conte doesn't want to be here, but I'm being told I don't give managers time. I said to you guys earlier, right? You all heard me say this on a voice note on the WhatsApp group. Do I want a manager to come in and be given 5-6 years? Yes. Do I want a manager to be able to come in and put his own stamp and ethos on the football club? Yes. But what did I also say, Perchy? That I don't want that person to be Antonio Conte.
Exactly.
I do not want 5 or 6 years of us building this footballing philosophy in the club I love.
Agreed.
Yeah,
It's one of the few things. I mean, Shawnee and I disagree on so many things about the club. We really do, but it's one thing we do agree on with this reset that we're both looking at now. It's got to be the right man that starts it off. You can't go backing.
There's no such thing as project
manager.
managers, though, Kuva. There's no such. Sorry to interrupt you, Kuva, because I don't like interrupting you. But my point is, from yesterday. No disrespect, because big up to them, by the way. Yeah. But the point I'm saying is, they were saying there's no such thing as a win now manager. There's no such thing as a project manager. Yeah. There's no such thing of it. That's what I was told.
Thing is, isn't in a way, when we use these words, guys, like project manager, aren't all managers in their own project, right? I mean, listen, clubs can have a philosophy, but every manager you bring in has got X amount of time before they leave a football club. It's very rare you have someone who can think of a manager that's been somewhere for more than a decade?
In the most recent time?
So Fergie,
Wenger.
Yeah.
Moyes, was he there? Everton?
Possibly. Eddie Howe at Bournemouth.
Yeah, I don't think that was a decade, but yeah, well, we can count it for the conversation, yeah.
You see my point, right?
Yeah.
How many managers anywhere in the world have that amount of time? How many? First of all, they get bored. Yeah, they want to move things. They like to leave. Players get bored, I think, of the same message. I think players get really bored of hearing the same voice, the same tone. How many times, I'll ask you this, guys. Start with you, Kuva. How many times, if you're working for a manager and you think, God, that was really motivational, that talk. And then how many times for 6-7 years can you keep hearing a motivational talk and going, yeah, I'm buying into this, when in the bigger picture, nothing's changing? Do you know what I mean?
Mate, depends who's saying it, mate.
Go on.
No, I can think of a few people. I just like their voice, so I'll be all right with it.
No, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, cool.
Poch, for example. One of the things I said about Poch needing to go at the time that he went was, it wasn't so much that he was a bad manager, because you don't turn into a bad manager overnight, but it was that it felt like it had run its course.
It's like there'd be no point Churchill doing the fight them on the beaches speech if we're getting annihilated every sort of month.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I love this comment. Steady as Shark has said, Conte himself is Conte out.
Yeah, he is.
I love that.
But it's so true. And this is what we're told we have to back the manager, whilst the manager doesn't even back himself.
Right. Whoever, answer this, please. Answer this. I'll go at the end. Guys, what do we make of this?
Okay.
I am so sick of this narrative.
Okay. I'll go with this one. If Spurs play good football, they'd get battered every single week. Based on what? What does that? Based on what? That's the first thing it means. What does it mean? But basically, let's put it. I'll put this out to everyone here. What's our weakest position in the team? Be honest. What's the weakest position in our team? Defense, right? So why are we playing a defensive setup that is exactly the problem that we have? Why don't we go and play attacking football, which is our strongest thing? I think we can agree. The strongest we are is in attack. We've got Kane, Kulusevski, and Son. Logic tells me that we should be playing more attacking football because we're crap at the back.
Alex? You're on mute, mate.
There you go.
Oh, right.
Basically, for me, I hear the comment. I understand what he's talking about, but at the same time, I think we should be more focused on attacking wise. You know what I mean? That's what I feel anyway. Rather than being more defensive, I think we do need better defenders. Yes, 100%. That has to be sorted. Okay, but I just think the whole identity of the team needs to be changed in that sense, where we're not relying on one player, and we need to be focused on trying to more look at ways of attacking teams to be on the front foot more than looking more to be more a counter-attacking team. I don't feel good about it at all, to be honest with you. That's for me anyway. But
Yeah.
I see his point. Though. I do see his point, but because
Let me ask you a question,
we are
Alex.
supposed to do.
Let me ask you a question then. So all these people that say about that we can't play. By the way, I'm not talking about gung ho, 5 players up front, no one tracking back. But why does it mean when we get the ball in the midfield and the forward areas? What has that got to do with the defence when we're talking about playing some good football? What like I'm talking about? So from the moment Bentancur or Basuma or Højbjerg pick the ball up in the midfield, we're on the halfway line. Now our defence aren't involved. Why can't we play good football? Because the defence aren't strong.
Pressing. If you're going to play a high line, you've got to be really up on your pressing game.
That's why.
Yeah, I think that's what Hoddle's talking about. We just haven't got that sort of mentality at the moment where we're hounding players down quickly. I think
but it doesn't mean we forget how to pass the ball, right?
I think for me, my interpretation of what Hoddle says is if we play exactly the same team and try and adapt different tactics, we're going to get hammered. Yeah, it does require a change in personnel and a change in those.
No, I agree with we need personnel.
I agree, but are there not worse squads out there than us that attempt to get the ball down and look at Fulham?
Yeah, 100%.
Look at Fulham when they were all over Man United the other day. All over them. No one's going to tell me Fulham have got a better squad than us. No one. That defence got promoted from the Championship.
This is where we've been talking about things like maybe you just give a chance to somebody from the academy or somebody like that.
Yeah,
agreed.
But Kuva, this is exactly, you just hit a point that I make all the time. People tell me that our defenders are crap. Eric Dyer is a problem at the football club. He's terrible. So if he is that bad, that everyone is telling me, why does Conte play him every single week? Why did Conte come out and say he's one of the best defenders in the Premier League? And if he is as bad as it is, why are we not playing an academy? Or why are we playing with 3 defenders? 3 centre backs.
One thing I will defend him on, though. One other thing I will defend. Listen, I don't like Conte. Yeah, so let's absolutely I want him out. Yeah, I've said it on my channel already. Mr. Box Office TV, if you really want to know. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I don't need to say any more on that. But I will say this: he can't have a go at him, can he? Because look what's happened now. He's had a go at most of the players, and they're saying that he should never have said what he said. You know what I mean? So I can see why he said what he said, but maybe he could have not gone to the extreme of what he said, though.
Yeah. I agree.
That's what I think as well, though.
But Alex, wouldn't it have been nice? Wouldn't it be nice if he's still in charge? We go to Everton away. Wouldn't it be nice that you go, okay, Charlie Sayers is going to play centre back this week?
Yeah, 100%.
And the fans go, okay, cool, young kid. He makes a mistake. You go, he's young. He's learning. It's going to happen. But this guy picks Eric Dyer week in, week out. Week in, week out. And then fans go, he's got no one else to pick. Well, first of all, and this is going to bring me on to Wayne's point. Do you know what? I hear this all the time. All the time I hear this, that because we play 5 at the back and letting goals, if we played 4 at the back, we'd concede more. I speak to a lot of coaches that I know that work at pro clubs. I'm in a WhatsApp group with loads of coaches that I've worked with. And they've got a differing opinion on this, right? They're of the opinion that if you put in more bad players into an area, i.e., if you flood the centre-back area with bad players, that's not safety in numbers. What you're actually doing there is adding more frailty, more fragility, if that's the word, into that back line. So rather than saying, okay, we've got Romero and then one who's a bit shaky and a 2, what we're saying is, okay, you got Romero, but now the 2 next to him are fragile. So you're actually overloading with fragile footballers rather than actually shoring it up at the back. So this whole, we play 3 because we can't trust 2, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
We've even seen it from the numerical point of view, how it falls down when it comes to offsides. How many times have we seen one of the 3 not go forward with the other 2? The classic one with Dyer. So you're making it more possible for more errors to occur because you've got more bad players there. I think that's why the likes of Jan and Toby worked so well, knew each other's game well, perfect pairing.
Agreed.
Yeah, and again, if we're going to do this, this is why I'm always worried, guys, when people pick one pundit and say, did you see what this person said? It must be true. We've got to be really careful when doing that, because all ex-players are pundits, right? Whoever's on TV, they're all now pundits. But we'll turn around, and depending if you like that person or not, depends on whether we give their professional opinion credence. I'll give you an example. If Paul Merson comes out and slams Tottenham Hotspur, and our fans go, he's an idiot, him. He's an idiot. Oh, my God, I can't believe what Jamie Redknapp said. Okay, but they're ex-pros. They're professionals at one thing. But Glenn Hoddle says something, we go, oh, it must be true. Now, equally, after the Milan game, Glenn Hoddle said, guys, he cannot understand why Antonio Conte doesn't have a plan B. He said he can't understand why he never goes to 4 at the back, 4-2-3-1, and gets Richarlison up front and Kane floating. So we've got to be, I don't know what you think about this, Kuva, but I think it's really difficult when people just go, this pundit said this, it must be true.
Well, there's certain respect and credence given to some people ahead of others, isn't there? Glenn Hoddle said something, I'll take it much more seriously than Paul Merson. But Jamie Redknapp, he said a lot of things that people don't agree with. I think he said a lot of things that have been quite true as well. He's kind of had a balanced overall opinion. Not too much of a sort of rose-tinted glasses when he talks about the club, but there's enough when the club's attacked as well. Yeah, at the end of the day, just because they used to be a player doesn't mean they are right about everything, does it? I remember Mark Lawrenson, the ex-Liverpool centre-back, formed a brilliant partnership with Alan Hansen. As a manager, terrible. As a pundit, terrible. And people were saying, oh, you're Kuva, you're getting a bit big for your boots, aren't you? You think you know more than Mark Lawrenson. And I thought, when it comes to coaching and tactics, yeah, I think I probably do. That's the impression I got with Mark Lawrenson.
I think that's breaking news.
Wrong. It doesn't matter if you got a title. Look at Prime Minister that you have as well. Different subject, but
I use Paul Merson just as a basis. By the way, guys, I'm not saying that everything Paul Merson says is true, but guys, I when I worked for Charlton Athletic, right, I coached with I'm not going to say his name. I coached with a player who won 2 Champions Leagues. It wasn't called the Champions League then. He won 2 Champions Leagues playing for Brian Clough, okay, in the Forest side. And when I was coaching with this guy, I remember he always used to say, I was in awe. Like I was younger. I was like, oh my God, everything he said, I would hang on his every word. And he always used to say to me, Savva, he said, my opinion is no better than yours, than his, than hers, than his, I'm just a man that was lucky to be good at football. My opinion on everything isn't the truth. It's just that it's an opinion. So it definitely wasn't Martin O'Neill. I can tell you that it wasn't Martin O'Neill. He wasn't coaching for Charlton Athletic.
Savva,
if you want to guess who it is, have a guess. Who do you reckon it would be?
I don't know who that would be, to be honest.
Have a guess, Kuva. You must remember though that era.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think somebody that would have been at Charlton.
He coached for Charlton Athletic. And it was in the era when they went up with the likes of Johnny Robinson, Clive Mendonca, Richard Rufus, Eddie Youds. If anyone remembers Eddie Youds. CW. CW his initials.
Wilson.
Colin.
Woodhouse? Oh God! Why am I not?
Colin Walsh. Colin Walsh.
I just don't remember him. The Forest bit for some reason.
Yeah,
I remember the players.
He played for Cloughie's team. But listen. The point was, he was there. There was loads of other people in the coaching academy that had played. Loads of people that had played. Some of their opinions you'd listen to and go, you were a pro. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but hey, it is what it is. Alex, I asked the guys this at the beginning, so I might as well ask you as well. Is Conte going? Have we all been getting our knickers in a twist about nothing, Alex, and he's actually going to be our manager till the end of the season?
You're on mute again, mate.
You're on mute again.
I think Conte will be here to the end of the season on gardening leave, and Cellini's going to be doing his is going to be in charge until the end of the season. I don't think he's leaving until the end of the season. Yes, Stellini, yeah, because he's taking training right now. He's taking training right now. Yes, Stellini, yeah.
So why is Conte not there? Have I missed something? Do managers normally go away for 2 weeks during international break?
I think he's with his family, but I think right now at the moment I think they're trying to negotiate. This is why I say it's all Tottenham's fault. You know what I feel about this, Savva, because you're in the WhatsApp group with me, yeah. But I've said that it's all our fault because we should never have got this guy in the first place and should have done our research on what because the fact is this is the same thing that happened with Chelsea.
Yep.
This is the same thing that happened with Chelsea.
Yep.
Yeah.
With better players.
Exactly, better players. And look what a mess that ended up at towards the end. You know what I mean? So really, Conte's we just got our dust desserts. Basically, Conte's just saying, well, you're not going to make a fool out of me, mate. You know what I mean? So if you're going to make a fool out of me, you're going to pay me for it. That's it. Simple. And to be fair, to the guy, he knows his worth. You get what I'm saying? I know people don't like him, but at the same time, you know, we're still in Champions League. The fact is, and listen, this is not me getting excited about Champions League, by the way, but we are still in top 4 contention. Yeah. So we're not. He hasn't left the club in like dire straits at the moment. You know what I mean? You know, we all know reasons why we are where we are. Yeah. One, because it's a bang average league. Yeah, and I don't care what anybody says to me. Come at me all day long, Mr. Box Office, first cheaper entertainment, to get rid of it, and that's it. Yeah, right. And also because one Harry Kane, which when I mention the name Harry Kane and say he's a loser and say that he should leave the Tottenham Hotspur and go to pastors new. Yeah, people get upset. People get upset all of a sudden, Savva. Why do they get upset, Savva? Why do they need to get upset? Does it really
just
hurt
keep saying
them?
my name? I really like it.
Really hurt them, Savva? Does it really hurt them, Savva? Does it really hurt them, Kuva? You know what I mean? You know,
what?
Does it make them feel like, oh, why do you have to hurt us? I'm a Lean-It guy. Oh, why are you letting Lean-It tear you apart? Why? Really?
This is brilliant. This
really?
needs to be clipped.
This is the whole point.
I'm clipping this.
This is the point of why I'm a Tottenham fan, because I told the truth. You know what I mean? You know, there's a reason why we keep on talking about Daniel Levy. Yeah, because we're not relevant. Yeah, if we were winning trophies, you wouldn't be talking about Daniel Levy. You'd be talking about the memories of you winning trophies, bro. Yeah, if we were not that great, if we were playing good football, we'd be talking about Daniel Levy, wouldn't we? You know what I mean? But again, Tottenham fans don't look at the bigger picture. You know what I mean? Because I'm told that I'm short-sighted because I don't talk about Daniel Levy. Well, this is the truth and entertainment talking truth again, and that's all I need to say, and that's it. And if you don't know, get to know. Back to Savva, and that's it. I'm done.
Well, you've all been told. Back to Savva, and I mean, look, Alex does have a point.
I've got a quick question for Alex.
Go on.
Alex, do you enjoy those little outbursts as much as we do?
They're the best.
It's a natural thing, Bob. You know what I mean? It's like people think I'm a fool. People think I'm a fool, yeah, right? But you don't really know. When I made the channel, Mr. Box Office TV. Well, it was Alex TV HSC, yeah. It's just time for Mr. Box Office to create and use some great ideas. You know what I mean? So that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? So people can have a go at me. People can tap out of debates because say, "Oh, what is he doing? What is he being like that? What is he doing? Why is he so?" It's called confidence, bruv, and that's what YouTube's all about, bruv. So maybe you should take some lessons off the Mr. Box Office, and that's it. And that's all I need to say. Sorry, bruv, and that's it. Sorry, Savva. It's all about you, bruv. At the end of the day, it's your channel. I don't want to take a spotlight, bruv. You know what I mean? But that's all I need to say, bruv.
Just quickly, thank you for the 2 people that just subscribed. If we can get another 5 subscribers between now and the end of the show, that would be marvelous. As we count our way down towards the 4K, so please smash the subscribe button, and thank you so far to the 115 people that have liked. So let's see if we can get that closer to 200, please. Kuva, Alex has got a point. When you look at Antonio Conte, he has history of doing this.
Yeah.
So how much credence do we get the people that are going, oh my God, it's brilliant. He called out the owners, he called out the players. But this is what he does, right? This isn't a new thing that he suddenly found because it's crappy Tottenham Hotspur, right? This is what he does, right?
Yeah, this is kind of what I was trying to get across from the whole argument of why I think it's pointless focusing on Conte at the moment. He did exactly what you expect Conte to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to really blame him that much. I'm just going to say I think the football's crap and I can't watch it. But otherwise, this is classic Conte. I don't know why we got him. It's the same arguments, really, isn't it? Lots of people did want him. I was bitterly against it. I know Alex was as well at the time. A few others as well. Not too many. I think most people are kind of
but that's because Alex and Mark's Scrumpy Somerset Spurs are in a two-man Pochettino fan club every day, aren't they?
No way. I love Posh as well, but
not like them two. You don't like. I mean, these two just.
As Sav, mate, I've said on several streams now, the greatest moment being a Spurs fan for me was winning, first of all, the UEFA Cup, 84.
Yeah.
And the two early cups in 81, 82, and 91. They're all great. But if you take them out of the equation, the next best time was peak Pochettino years when I had that feeling on I think it was a Wednesday evening or something, it might have been Tuesday. We'd won 4-0 away at Stoke and we were chasing Leicester. And I just thought, God, we're going to win this. This is amazing. And I just want that feeling back. If any manager can give me that feeling back, whether we win it or not, just the belief that we can, I will be happy as hell. Pochettino is the only one in my lifetime that's given me that feeling we can win the league.
Yep, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not knocking it, by the way. I'm just having a little bit of banter with Alex and Mark. But I mean, Perchi, Alex is bang on. It was an ill-informed decision of who to hire, and then all the people that now are so very much Conte in can't admit that. Like it was always going to end in this way. It was always going to end in this way.
I think history tells us it would end. It was going to end exactly like this. We all knew how it was going to be. We knew we only had to look at a few months back and how. Please guys, just so please sub. That'd be lovely. Thank you very much. A bit of a plug. So what I was going, I think we all knew how it was going to end with Conte. I think some of us were probably blinded and a bit naive to think that it was going to end any other way, that he was going to go and win us. I think, but we kind of knew. I think we all just thought, maybe it's gonna end badly, but he might go and win us something. But we looked at it, and if you thought about it logically, actually, it wasn't going to end that way, was it? Because he doesn't win in cups, does he?
Well, he's what I think he won. Did he win the FA Cup with Chelsea? But other than that, when people kept telling me he's a winner, he's a winner. But in the competition, in the cup competitions, not just at Spurs, if throughout his career, that's not been his forte. His forte is winning leagues. And I don't know who thought that was going to be going to be happening at Tottenham Hotspur, which was
the big hope bit again, isn't it? It's we're so desperate for the success. We just think a manager like that, if they got to be able to get us over the line because everything else has failed, and it just doesn't work like that, does it? They've got to have the correct circumstances to do it. But anyway, I'm actually going to have to hop off, mate.
Yeah, I know, mate.
Things come up, so. Cheers, lads. Good to see you again, Alex. As always, Mr. Box Office, bloody love it. Keep going.
Yeah,
never change. Never change.
Never.
Absolutely.
And speak to you all soon. And cheers to everyone.
Take care. Take care. Alex, we're not going anywhere, by the way, but Alex, put your link in the chat and everybody get over and subscribe to Mr. Box Office. How many subs you got at the moment, Alex?
I think it's about 550 or something like that.
Let's help both these two get up towards the 1K mark. Share the love.
That'd be lovely, guys.
Part of the Pochettino fan club has said, Savva, I don't do cider. Okay, okay, brilliant. I don't do cider; it gives me the shits. Thanks for that, Mark. I wouldn't have been able to go about my day without knowing that. Look, it's difficult, Alex, isn't it? Because we're all good at hindsight, aren't we? As human beings, not just Spurs fans. As human beings, we're all good at the after the event. At the moment, there hasn't been an event really, so this whole Conte's walking or Conte's being sacked hasn't happened. Do you think this is more of a case that they're probably in talks with somebody in the background, or they're speaking to his lawyers about the best way to exit, rather than we're just all being silly and nothing's happening?
Well, they'll be silly not to look at other managers at the moment. Absolutely, 100%. Because they need to figure out something quickly, don't they? Really, because if he, it looks like he's leaving anyway, because he's not going to sign a new contract now anyway. So, it'd be sensible for Tottenham to look at other options at the moment. And sound them out, and that's it. And yeah, I think, like I said, I think at the moment it's either it's going to go now, and they're going to pay him off the money that he wants, or you'll go at the end of the season, and that's it really. The only thing I'm concerned about at the moment is that we need to have a plan of what we're going to be doing, because we've got a lot of work to do in the summer. We've got absolutely lots of work to do in the summer that needs to be sorted. I don't think it's all going to be sorted in the summer anyway. If I'm really honest, I think it's going to be over the next coming windows, and that's it. Not to mention you've got to get rid of Paratici, in my opinion, as well.
Oh, for sure.
Because he needs to go. So yeah, I just think that's the thing really for me. I do like the whole thing, and sorry to just move the question on a little bit, but I do feel that the manager that we're linked with, like Nagelsmann, he's an interesting one for me. I think he's a very interesting one for me. I think he's a guy that I think I don't know a lot about, but I'll be interested to see how he works at Tottenham. I think
Who's that? Are you talking about Nagelsmann?
Yeah, Nagelsmann. Yeah, I think he's an interesting one for me. I think I wouldn't mind him coming if he's going to play some good football. But I do feel that he needs to have a conversation, because the thing is, I think his next move is very, very important. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to have a situation what happened at Bayern Munich and then end up messing up at Tottenham because of you weren't given the tools of what other managers didn't get as well. So I think the conversation with Daniel Levy is going to be very, very important if he is going to be appointed as Tottenham head coach, I think.
Well, let's talk about him then. I'll come to you in a second, Eugene. Perchi, just quickly before we do, and thanks for joining the show. And I'm sorry, I've only just seen your WhatsApp you sent me, so I'm sorry I didn't see that. Perchi, Julian Nagelsmann, because I got told off on YouTube yesterday for saying his name wrong. I mean, like I should know how everyone pronounces their name in the world. Look, this guy, people like Yusuf are saying he's not all that, but he's a manager.
Lost 3 games all season, hasn't he?
Well, this is a manager that he took over Hoffenheim when he was 28 years of age, right? Which is younger than you are right now, yeah? He took over Hoffenheim at the age of 28. They were in a relegation battle. He won 7 of the last 14 games to take them out of that relegation battle. The following season, he took them from relegation candidates to top 4 to get into the Champions League. Then he went to Leipzig, done wonders with Leipzig. He's gone to Bayern Munich. They won the league and the cup last year. And this year he's beaten Inter Milan, Barcelona, PSG twice, and all 8 Champions League games, and they're like a point off the top of the table. Why is Nagelsmann not all that, Perchi? What are people saying that for? Why is he not all that?
Because people clearly have looked at him in the basis that he's managing Bayern Munich. But as you said, they've missed out the fact that he took a relegation fodder team into a Champions League. Like, let's just put it into context. That would be on the same levels of taking, you could argue,
West Ham.
It'd be like taking West Ham from finishing in 17th to taking them the next season after to put them in 4th. I mean, I think people missed that completely. Like, if a manager had done that in the Premier League,
Yeah.
they'd be talked about getting linked with the best jobs in world football, but because it happens in the German league, and yeah, I think people need to put a bit of respect to his name. I think he's good enough. I think if we can get him in, if it's a massive if, because the talks are Chelsea and Real Madrid are snooping. It's why I said in the group chat that if we
But the thing is,
to...
these Chelsea links, Perchy, I don't know where that's coming from. Everyone keeps saying that Potter's going to be sacked. I don't think I've seen anything I don't think I've seen anything that actually suggests that is correct, other than fans saying he's going to be sacked. Right?
By the way, I don't think so. But my point being is Chelsea have got a manager at the moment that, regardless of what we think, because I think he should get time at Chelsea. He's got a load of players that he hasn't had a chance to properly bed in. But by the by, Chelsea operate very differently to the way we are, and they want instant success. That their fan base demand instant success. That's how they've operated in the last 2 decades. But it wouldn't shock me for Chelsea. Do you know what? It wouldn't shock me if Chelsea sack Potter tomorrow and they hire Nagelsmann the day after. Bit like what Bayern Munich did with Tuchel. Sack Nagelsmann, brought Tuchel in the day after, because that's how big football clubs operate. We're sitting around going, oh, we'll talk to him next week. By next week, Real Madrid might have sacked Ancelotti, who wins everything, and gone, do you know what? We're going to pull the trigger on Ancelotti just to get this man in. This man is a hot prospect of a manager that is wanted by big football clubs. I think people will completely miss that. Real Madrid don't just go in for want a manager that for the sake of it. They want big managers. They think he will be a big manager. So I think if I was Tottenham, I would go, do you know what? We might lose out on a load of money here on Conte. Let's act like a proper football club. Put a contract down to Nagelsmann's people and pay Conte off. Listen, if we have to suffer it with a bit of money, we pay him off if it means that we can get this manager in. Because I genuinely think when the news broke, I genuinely actually felt optimistic at this football club. It's the first time in a couple of years I've actually felt optimistic. I've gone, do you know what? I can back this. If we gave this man, and when you were off because your missus decided to get all the food shopping when we took over for a brief period, we were talking about it. So I said, if you bring in an Nagelsmann, you go all the way with it, by the way. You get rid of the director of football, you get rid of the coaching staff, and you go, do you know what? We're going to put a 5-year contract on the table, and the first 2 years, we're not judging you on where you finish in the league, as long as you don't get us
relegated. We're letting you build. We're letting you build.
We'll give you 2 years and 4 windows to get rid of the players you don't want. You identify who you want to keep. You identify who you want to get rid of. And as long as you don't get us relegated, we'll keep you here. And you can do however you want.
Okay, just before I come to you, Eugene, I mean, Dominic, I think this is really harsh. I mean, you know, saying Potter is the worst Chelsea manager you've had in your history.
No, I mean, that's got to be a joke, right?
I do feel like that is massively harsh. Look at all the things. Going on at your. Anyway, listen, we're not Chelsea, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Eugene, where do you stand on all this? Hello, mate. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks for having me on. I'm doing my debut on Football Heritage.
But you are Football Heritage TV. Subscribe, people. Subscribe. Eugene, where are you with this whole? Look, it was always going to be a link, right? Nagelsmann is sacked. I think most people kind of wanted Nagelsmann before the whole Conte Nuno thing. Before the Nuno thing happened, everyone wanted Nagelsmann. Is this just people putting 2 and 2 together and we're getting like 100, or is there a reason to suggest that the answer here is 4?
Savva, to tell the truth, right? I'll just go back a bit first before we go to Nagelsmann and all that, right? For me, is that day one when Conte walked in, I never believed it will work, right? Because we know our owners will never support what Conte wants, right?
Yep.
Even during the summer transfer window before Nuno came in, when we were already talking to Conte, and then when Conte came in, we were always saying that, you know, if Conte joined us, I'm sure he would have his conditions, right, before he joined us, and blah, blah, blah. That's all past history now, right? The only thing that what I saw, what Conte brought, is that I thought if Conte came in, right, we're talking here now about the Levy outers, right? At least we will unite and have a stand, right? to point the finger at one person, but instead it more or less has divided us again to another extent. Sadly, right? That's the sad part, right? But of course, being a Spurs fan for so many years, I've become very zen about all this. I've accepted where we are, what we're gonna do, instead of trying. I try not to moan or cry too much because, come on, Nagelsmann. Even before Nuno came in, remember we went through the 70 over days of looking for a manager after Mourinho, right? He was linked, and all of a sudden he disappeared to Bayern Munich.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And
let's
now,
be fair. You wouldn't blame anyone for picking Bayern Munich over Tottenham Hotspur, would you?
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Right. And to tell the truth, let's be fair, right? To whoever who wants to become a Tottenham Hotspur manager, right? We'll have to accept, right? It is what it is. This is what we are, right? When Conte came in, we thought we would have change, right? In the end, it didn't matter how shitty the football is or how great the football is, or are we going to win something or we're not going to win something. But we thought we had Levy pushed to the corner. His back was against the wall. He had to produce. He had to give us something. But in the end, like I said, in January, the seeds of Conte was planted. Now it's grown into a tree. Now the rope is tied up there, right? It's keeping be hanged, right?
But Eugene, those people who thought though that Levy, a lot of people at the time, I remember, were going, "This is the manager that's going to make Levy change. Things will be different. He would have given his demands." I remember hearing all that about someone called Jose Mourinho when he came in, and it was, if anyone can. I think we know how this was going to end. We know that Conte wasn't the right man. He was never the right choice for our football club. But my question to you, Eugene, I'm going to ask you the same question, Alex, in a second. With a Nagelsmann, I think the reason why for me that would be a good signing if he came is he's 35, so he's still a young, hungry manager. But he's a 35-year-old with experience at the same time, right? He's got his 7 years management. He's managed Hoffenheim, RB Leipzig and Bayern Munich. So he's worked his way up in terms of relegation threat and Champions League winning titles. He gets the ball down and wants to play the right way. And I think he would be good for the likes of Papasar, Porro, Udogie, Kulusevski, Romero. I think he'd be good for those younger players. And he might be happy to get quick, young, hungry players with a good engine in them. Whereas Conte was never going to be that guy, was he? Conte doesn't want that. Conte wants ready-made winners right now.
To tell the truth, right? It doesn't matter, right? Whether Nagelsmann, Conte, whoever comes in now, right? The only thing is that whoever that we bring in now, right, will the owners support it? Simple as that. Because from day one, we've been seeing that the managers that come in never get the support, right? Or barely get some support. And Savva's gone. So we take over the show.
This is now, guys, this is the Perchy Heritage TV. Welcome. Okay. I'm your host, the Perchy. Carry on. Sorry, I'm joking.
No, but in the end of the day, I'm going to steal this from Alex, right? Bayern Munich sacked Nagelsmann, right? So are we going to take a Bayern Munich reject as our manager?
Yeah. But Nagelsmann, are you mad? Yeah. Like, look what he's done this season. Regardless, listen, we don't know. Yeah, but we don't know the reason why he got sacked, by the way. I don't think he got sacked because of on-field performances. There's got to be something else. You can't lose 3 games in all competitions and get a sack. It doesn't make sense.
But Perchy, the thing is that, right, there's been saying behind that the players have already revolted against him, right? There was a story out there, right? Thomas Neuer, their top goalkeeper, or Müller.
Yeah.
Right?
Manuel Neuer.
Manuel Neuer, yeah, their top goalkeeper, right? He's gone on long injury leave, right? Because he was badly hurt, right? What Nagelsmann did was he sacked Neuer's coach, goalkeeper coach. You can say that. So I think Nagelsmann has gone in and stepped on a lot of the old guard there. A lot of the old guard ain't happy with him. So,
but in fairness,
yeah,
Eugene, would you not agree though? Sorry, didn't mean to just jump in there. So, but when you're saying that, when you said about Bayern reject, with Tottenham Hotspur, can we really? I think Nagelsmann, if we get him in, I think that's the best option we've got at the moment. No, who do you think is a better option?
to tell the truth, I don't care whatever option comes
that's
now.
fair.
I've gone to the stage, right? It could be Ryan. It'll be Ryan. It could be Ryan Mason, right? Or whether Conte stays until end of the season, or whatever is going on. Our club never gives us a direction, right? Never communicates with the fans, right? And just leaves us hanging, right? After the Conte outburst, right? We were expecting at least a statement from the club to say that, okay, what we are doing. But what we hear is all from the journalists, right? 48 hours, 24 hours, 72 hours. Guys, we reached 1 week now.
Yeah.
It's Saturdays, 1 week. There's no news coming out. But okay, coming back to Nagelsmann, whether he's a Bayern reject or not, right? He got sacked by Bayern Munich, right? Whether it's because he are they preempting the fact that number one, Dortmund is above them. That's the thing, right? The owners can't handle it. Number two is they're coming up to Champions League. Who are their opponents? Man City.
Man City.
Yeah. So they're seeing that they might lose to Man City, right? Why they brought in Tuchel is because Tuchel beat Man City, right, in the finals of the Champions League.
But I don't believe in that narrative.
No, I mean that's my
the thing is, though, it's so strange them sacking him now. Like when you look at it, they've won 8 out of 8 in the Champions League, right? Beating PSG twice, Barcelona, Inter Milan. They are 1 point behind Dortmund with a, hang on, quick maths, Richard, with a 45, a plus 45 goal difference compared to Dortmund's plus 24. Like they're 1 win away from being top and winning the league again. It feels a bit strange, but for me, Eugene, I agree with you. Look, I think on the cold face, I think we all agree, right, that no matter who comes in, we're always going to have the elephant in the room of the ownership. However, I do believe that this manager has got, I keep seeing people say, oh, it's another manager that will need loads of money. Well, hang on. At Hoffenheim and RB Leipzig, that wasn't the case. I think people are thinking because he's been at Bayern Munich for just under 2 years, that, oh, he's from a big club. But the job he done with Hoffenheim, now, I'm not going to sit here and say I know how much he spent. I fail to believe that he spent hundreds of millions at Hoffenheim, right? I fail to believe it, right? And he got them from relegation candidates in a year to top 4 and then went to RB, and everyone liked watching RB Leipzig. So for me, I just think that would be more of a, more of a Levy type manager to work with rather than the give me the 70 million Bastonis. That's just my opinion, guys. I don't know what you guys think.
I think the only Levy type manager that is good for Levy now is because he's sacked. Levy doesn't pay compensation to get him in. That's the only thing I see, right? That's the only plus for Levy. No need to pay compensation. If we went for Zerbi or something like that, right? We would have paid Brighton a hell loads of money to get Zerbi, right? The only other one could be out of a job is Pochettino. Pochettino is out of a job, right? But I don't even want to go to Pochettino. It makes me sad.
I mean, yeah, it's a difficult one. Perchi, I'll come to you afterwards, Alex.
Go for it, mate.
Is he more of a, and I use this term loosely, but is Nagelsmann more of the Pochettino mold? And when I say that, Pochettino's been the most I don't use the word success in terms of trophies, but in terms of where we were in the league, the football we were playing, Pochettino's been the best in the last decade. Is Nagelsmann more of that mold as opposed to Conte and Jose being in the complete end, the other end of the spectrum? Perchi?
Oh, sorry. Apology. I thought you said that you were speaking to Alex. Sorry, apologies.
Wow.
I wanted to just. You'll have to repeat the question because I just completely zoned out.
I did think you had. Thanks for that. It was nice. Go on.
No, I was just going to say. You know, you mentioned people saying that he needs to be backed. Does anyone know how much money he spent? I was just checking because I wanted to do before I made the statement because I didn't think he spent. How much money did he spend in this season?
What,
Just
in the
try to figure
summer
out.
and in the summer and January window?
So the two windows, how much have they spent collectively?
About
Bayern Munich.
70.
It was more than 70.
They
So
got
they
money
spent-
for they got money for how much?
So I'll tell you, they spent 140 million euros in the two transfer windows this season. Bear in mind, 70 of that was to bring in Matthias de Ligt. So they
How
brought
much?
in-
How much across the two? So we're talking about the summer and January. How much
they
was it?
spent 140 million euros, and as I said,
140.
70 of that, yeah,
Yep.
and 70 of that was for de Ligt at centre half. So he hasn't spent masses of money. Bear in mind, think about how much we spent compared to. And bear in mind, I understand it's Bayern Munich; they already have a good squad. So I wouldn't say that they've gone out and spent stupid amounts of money. Do you think? I wouldn't suggest that.
No, I mean not when you look at some of what the other clubs are spending.
Yeah.
Alex.
And I was just going to say the other 30 was for Mane. Was the other 30? They spent.
Mane. I mean, Alex, let me ask you the question that I just asked Perchi then. Is he more akin to a Poch than Jose and Conte, who are probably the complete opposite end of that spectrum?
I would say, from what people are saying, yes. I mean, I don't know a lot about him. Okay, I've got to be honest. I don't know a lot about him because I don't really watch that much of German football. But I think because he's young, he's got a lot. He's got a lot of experience for a young manager as well, or a young head coach or young manager, if you whatever you favour. I do feel that he fit the mold of someone that's that he's got new ideas as well, and he's got a time to grow as well. But with that as well, I think there is a danger that he is a manager that is going to be sought after if he does well at Tottenham as well. So, he could easily go as well. So I think for me, again, it goes back to that conversation. I think also as well, we need to put things into context. He did have some good director of football people behind him, such like my man Paul Mitchell at RB Leipzig. So, and it's interesting that he's left his job at Monaco now.
Well, they reckon he's going Liverpool, don't they?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised anyway because Liverpool would be on that straight away, wouldn't they? You know what I mean?
For sure. Top
Because
clubs move quick.
they think ahead, unlike Tottenham. But the point, I think for me at the moment, I think he's a very good choice and a very good acquisition for Tottenham. And I think for me, it's an opportunity. I don't like that word opportunity because you know what that means for Tottenham Hotspur. Opportunities, and it doesn't mean opportunity in that sense, isn't it? Really. But the point I'm making is that I think it's a good opportunity for us to get him in. Yes, but I think the important thing with Nagelsmann is where how we're going to move forward when he leaves. What is he going to leave behind? You know what I mean?
But doesn't that go down to? Sorry,
Like,
just
he's
quickly.
not even here yet.
Just quickly, sorry. Strip Bear in the chat, please stop. It's becoming borderline spamming now. I don't want to put you in a timeout. You've not said anything wrong, but this is a football chat room, and you're just spamming every time I look over. It's you commenting and no one else. Can you please hold off and let's get this chat back to football. Sorry, but Alex, I think the key thing is. Whoever comes in now, I think what we've got to do is we've got to build an ethos.
That's what I'm trying to say.
The manager. Look, we're using Nagelsmann as hypothetical here, right? Whether it's Nagelsmann or Poch or Zerbi, whoever comes in now, I think we need to, whoever comes in, we need to make sure that then the manager after that is of a similar ilk, so that what we're not doing, and that we get away from these phrases like, "Is he a Conte player?" What we want them to be is, are they a Tottenham player? I.e., have they, Man City, when Man City go and sign a player, people go, are they a Man City type player? Yeah. A De Bruyne, a Gundogan, a Mahrez, a Grealish, all these skillful players that are very good on the ball, technically good, can pass, control, receive the ball in tight areas. A Man City player. At Spurs, are they a Conte player? Are they a Jose player? Are they a Poch player? And I think we need to get away from that, guys, which is what I think we need to build.
But they have to work well with the manager, though, because I think Nagelsmann
honestly,
is one of those managers.
My biggest question now, right? Whoever comes in, right, to take over from Conte, whether it's now or end of the season, right? Will they be able to transform players like Davis, Dyer, Tanganga, Sanchez to become a different level kind of players to bring us forward? That's my biggest fear now. Right?
I think they won't be played, Eugene. I think that's the thing. I think if you bring in a manager like Nagelsmann, I think he'll like working with Udogie, who's young, quick, pacey, right? I think he'll like working with a Porro who wants to get forward, wants to get involved. Romero. If you think about it, if he's going to play a back four, I'm sorry, I'm not just saying Nagelsmann. If you think about it, you could have a very attacking back four with just adding one top centre back to play alongside Romero. So I don't think there's going to be a need then for, like, Davis. For me, I'm cool with Ben Davis in the squad. I think he's a very good player in the squad. Can fill in at centre back, can fill in at left back, he can do the left wing back job, but he shouldn't be starting. So for me, I don't think it's about what would he do with the existing players. I think it's who will he bring in? Young, hungry players.
Yeah, but Savva, I understand what you're saying, but will we bring in the players, like you say, that quick, top-notch center defender that we've been craving for the past 3 years or so? Right?
But does it need to be top-notch, Eugene? I think this is half the problem with Conte. I think everyone said he wants that caliber of centre-half, right? He wants a Bastoni, he wants a Vardiol. For me, I would look at players like Nikola Milenkovic at Fiorentina. Good, solid player, will do a job. So that's probably harsh. Will do a very good job. Won't cost 60 to 70 million. Right? That's where I think we should be scouting and looking at. But I don't think Conte wants that. Only my opinion.
Let's say another manager comes in, right? Let's say we go out and get a Kim Min-jae plus a Milenkovic, right? And we replace the Sanchez's and the Dyers, right, from our centre back scenario. Then maybe it will give us more of a solid centre back pairing to play a back four, because we know that we can't depend on Sanchez and Dyer in the back four position. Right, we've seen it before. It's god awful, bro.
No, I agree. Yeah. Let me just quickly. I've got a super. We've got a super sticker here from Gogama. Thank you so much. Always a wonderful supporter of all the Spurs channels. While we're at it, go and support every Spurs channel. Subscribe to every Spurs channel. Get to learn all the different opinions. I think it's really cool. Subscribe to Persuasion TV. Subscribe to Mr. Box Office, Alex THFC, subscribe to the Perch TV, subscribe to me, Tottenham Away, Henry Wright, Spurs Talk Show, everyone, Shelfside Spurs, all of them, subscribe to everyone.
And to tell the truth, right, Sam, I'm going to use this for a bit longer because most probably it won't be effective anymore, right? This picture.
Yeah, I did notice you done that.
Yeah, it's like, soon.
Eugene, it's like when I go on a stream with Jacob from United Spur of America. Subscribe to him as well, and he's got this really annoying little figurehead doll of Antonio
the figurehead.
Conte. I hate it. I just want to touch on this point, right? I honestly believe that we don't think about things before we type with these. Christian Romero would be exposed in a 2. Well, Christian Romero played in a 2 when he won Italian Defender of the Year, playing for Atalanta, right? Christian Romero also just won the World Cup playing in a back 4 for Argentina. So when we're saying Romero would be exposed, on what evidence? Why would he be, guys? Would he be?
No.
With Dyer there, maybe.
With
Dyer there.
If we went out and signed a leader at centre half, so a big centre half that is a leader, doesn't have to be the most amazing, but one that demands that controls that back four. he'll be absolutely fine. I criticize Romero more because I actually rate the player. I think he's got a lot of mistakes in him that need to be aired out. It doesn't help when he feels like he has to sort of rash out. He needs someone calm next to him. It's why I said, Savva, and you know this, that I said, Joachim Andersen, we should be all over. Joachim Andersen is what you get. I think there is no reason why we can't go in and pay 30 to 40 million quid for a Joachim Andersen, may even be a little bit more. I don't even care necessarily about the price tag. If the right manager,
would you take Tarkowski or Cody?
Oh yeah, proper centre half. I said that. I think
defenders that like to defend.
I think it's important. I think it's important that you get defenders, get players that work well together. Okay, I think the problem is with Tottenham at the moment, we're getting players different. Not look at their characteristics and whether they will work with the players that we've got already.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I think we've got lucky with some of the players that we got. I think Bentancur. I've got question marks on Bentancur if he's going to actually work in a free-flowing attacking team at the moment, and even Højbjerg at the moment. So I think if you're talking about who's going to be our main midfielder, I think it's going to be Bissouma.
I agree. Alex, I agree. I think the best thing a new manager could do when they come in is get that man straight into the midfield and play him to his strengths. I truly believe if we were going to play a two, I think Bissouma and Bentancur could work. Or if you're going to play a three, Bissouma, Bentancur, and another. I don't mind Højbjerg, but I think you need a bit more creativity in there than those three. Just quickly, this is what you get though. So you think of the players you guys have just mentioned. This is what you get. Guehi, Anderson are mid players. Cody is shit also. I would take all three of those over Davis, Dyer, Tanganga, Rodon, Sanchez. I don't know what's Anderson done that makes him mid. I think he's a good defender.
But Savva, this is the part though where people lose sight of it. I think that's the level we should be looking at as a centre half, because I think since Conte's come here, people have this sort of sight of grandeur that we're going to go and sign a £90 million centre half. You're in cuckoo land if you think that, because we're not going to. These big name defenders are going to go to the Man Cities, the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, all the big names, the Bayern Munichs. Do you know what I mean? We need to be a bit more sensible here. Do we? You made that great point about before with Vardy saying he's got a release clause, but everyone's going to activate that release clause. And let's be honest, if there's 6 teams on that list and there's Chelsea, Man City, Real Madrid,
then they're not joining Spurs.
They're not looking at Tottenham at all, regardless of anything.
The sad part of this grander thing, right, is actually not created by Conte. It's actually created by Levy, right? He's pushed it up. He gives us that illusion that we are so grand, that we're always going for all these big players, but we never get them, right?
I don't believe that, Eugene. I don't think that is on Levy. I think if you look at it, the Bastoni talk was all due to Antonio Conte being linked with his old manager. At no point has Levy turned around and said, "Yeah, we want Bastoni." But listen, for me, I'll tell you the perfect centre half I'd want to get, guys. Let me know. And I thought he was brilliant against us the other week. I thought he was absolutely sublime. Was Tomori at AC Milan? I would test the water and see if he wants to come back to England. Right? He's a London-born lad. And I thought, honestly, I don't know what you guys thought, against us for Milan, I'm going to call it White Hart Lane. At White Hart Lane, I thought he was absolutely a monster. Would you guys take him?
I don't think it would hurt, because I think he'd be experienced as well.
And to tell you, if Tomori comes back to London, right, he'll get a better chance to be in the England team.
I agree. How is Eric Dyer in that England squad and Tomori is not? He's insane. Shocking.
This is the thing, though. This is the thing that I need to just make clear, though, yeah? We're getting these managers in, but the players need to go. Yeah, players need to be
Agreed.
gone.
Sure.
Yeah, so this is the thing. It's like, oh, we're not going to turn over Dyer, Davis,
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier.
Sanchez, all these players. No,
Wenger.
this is where the conversation needs to happen with Nagelsmann or the other managers. You know what I mean?
But-
Because there's no point if they're coming in and saying, "Well, you still got to work with these players." Well,
No,
I'm sorry,
but
bye bye.
Alex-
Sorry, I can go off to Real Madrid. Thank you very much. And there's other
Yeah.
teams that will go to
Agreed.
Real Madrid.
But that's why I said earlier, Alex, about we get him in, and the first 2 seasons he's not judged. We don't judge him where he finishes. As I said, as long as he doesn't relegate us, but we're not bad enough to get relegated, we don't judge him. It doesn't matter if he gets knocked out in the first rounds of the cups, gets knocked out of Europe immediately. We finish mid-table. First 2 seasons, that's 4 windows to get rid of the crap at this football club. That for me is a project I would back as long as you go, do you know what? We're going to follow you and what you want. But I think our fan base won't accept it. If we start slumping out.
That would never happen. That will never happen.
Can I tell you my worry now moving forward is I think a lot of fans are so worried about being right rather than what's best for the club. And I'm going to tell you what I mean. And listen, this is one of these statements I will make that we won't know if I'm right or wrong until it happens or it doesn't happen, right? I think you're going to have all these people that don't want Conte going, that the moment the new manager drops out of top 4 or loses a couple of games, will be like, there you go. Should have kept Conte, right? But I think at some point, all the fans need to unite and say, right, whoever the next manager is, I'm so glad it's not Tuchel. Whether it's Zerbi, Pochettino, a Luis Enrique, a Nagelsmann, whoever it is, a Gallardo, I think all the fans need to go, right, okay, let's stop expecting trophies immediately. That's not going to happen. Let this manager come in. Let him change the ethos. Now, that might mean the football is tough for a year because you don't go like that and create attacking football. You need a summer to work on it to implement philosophy. Then the players need to play together 20, 30 games for it to bed down. Look at Man United, right? Man United sometimes look brilliant, sometimes look really bad, but get over the line because Ten Hag is trying to completely shift their mentality. So we need to be patient with the next manager. My problem is, and I'll say this again, I know you weren't on here, Eugene, when I said this, my problem is that Conte is not the manager to be patient with. This is not your guy that comes in and builds. And that's where I think a lot of people will get my opinion wrong on Conte.
What if I give you this conundrum that happens, right?
Go for it.
Conte is not
I love
sacked
a conundrum.
Yet, all right? Conte is not sacked yet, right?
Yeah.
Let's say Levy turns around and says that, okay, Conte, we are keeping you.
Yep.
We're going to listen to what you want, right? We're going to get rid of all the draws, right? And give you who you want. No, let's say, hypothetically, we can't afford to give you the £100 million signings or £90 million signings. But if you can identify 50 million, 60 million pound signings, we will try to, in the next 3 windows, we will try to get them all in place for you, right? And he stays. What would you guys think?
I've said all along, if Conte is staying, like Perchi's going to be so bored of hearing me say this. Alex probably heard me say it loads. If Conte is staying, Eugene, and he signs that contract in the summer, having seen how we operate for the 18 months that he's been here, cool. I say, fair enough, back the guy, right? But that comes with a but. He's seen how we operate now, Eugene. What it can't be is every time we lose a game, fans going, Levy, Enoch, and, oh my God, Conte wasn't backed, or Conte throwing his toys. Because they would have agreed now, this is what we are, this is what you're getting, do you want to sign or not? So if he stays, for me, all the excuses go. At the moment, it's cool. Yeah. At the moment, it's cool. Yeah, you've not been back, blah, blah, blah. If you stay, then you're the idiot that signed the contract, right?
Well, it's fair. I mean, I understand that's fair. But the thing is that, let's say, if he does stay, right, he must get some assurance from our owners that he's going to get a certain degree of the backing that he needs, right? But as we know, he won't stay.
Yeah, but Eugene, I think and Savva knows my thoughts on this. He is mental if he stays with us. He is
Agreed.
absolutely mental. And the thing is this is why I don't think him. This is why I don't think he will stay. You can't the way what he said. Listen, I completely support what Savva was saying there. If he stays, I don't want to hear him bitching and moaning in press conferences about how bad our players are. You've decided to put pen to paper to stay at this football club. You've got to suck it up. You know how we operate. You know you're not going to go and get the elite football players. You're not going to go get the elite football players. Don't start going, oh my God, I wanted these 4 players that are going to cost us 150 million quid for the 3 of them. Not going to happen. We know it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Just quickly, this person said this twice. So, I like to call out stupid people in the comments.
Yeah, of course.
First of all, you've spelt my name wrong. So I won't hold that against you. It's an easy mistake to put an A instead of another V. Savva, you say that we won't be able to buy Vardial, but you think that we could buy Tomori, who would cost 60, 70 million. You were deluded, Savva. So listen, let me point out the huge difference between buying Vardial and buying Tomori. Vardial, I think it's quite common knowledge, is the most sought-after centre-back in world football, right? I think everyone after the World Cup even more was going, wow, this guy's immense. He has a £95 million release clause, not a 60 to 70 million release clause. I've said this many a time. If Tottenham turn around, if Daniel Levy woke up tomorrow and bumped his head and said, oh, there you go, Paratici, go and put down a £95 million bid for Vardial. And RB Leipzig say, all right, yep, you've met his release clause. You can talk to him. When we meet his release clause, so will Man City, so will Real Madrid, so will Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, all of these big clubs. If you are sitting down, K7, as Vardial and his agent, if Eugene is my agent and I'm Vardial, Eugene saying to me, right, here's all the offers we've got on the table, Vardial, here's all the offers we've got. Right, any you want to rule out? Straight away, he's going to go, yeah, why am I going to Tottenham? Rule that one out. All right. Second of all, even if he didn't rule us out, now imagine we're at the table negotiating and his agent goes, we're going to start the contract negotiations. Real Madrid have just offered us 500 grand a week. Right, Daniel Levy, shake hands. Thank you very much. See you later. We can't pay that. Tomori is not going to cost that much money. And as far as I'm aware, I don't see him being talked about like Vardial. So, no, I'm not deluded.
But also, Sam,
context is important.
Also, the one thing you didn't also say is that you said, give it a go, knock at the door and see if the opportunity's there. You never said that we're going to go and sign him. The one thing, this is the point where people you guys in the comments need to, when we say stuff, we don't answer with what you thought we said. So all Savva said there was, go on, test the waters with someone like a Tomori. It may not happen. He might go and say, I want to stay at Milan. Just test the waters. He didn't say that we're going to go and sign him in the summer. There's massive context in everything we say here, guys. Context is not a word that's liked by people in football chat rooms. Agreed. They hear what I say and manage to twist it to me thinking it's going to happen. Like when I said I would swap Kane for Maddison and Ivan Toney if the offer was on the table. People go, oh my God, that's never going to happen. No, of course it's not. It's a hypothetical. Right? Yeah. First of all, Toney and Maddison don't play for the same club. So you couldn't just do a straight swap.
And Savva, you triggered me with one name, right? Paratici. To tell the truth, right, guys, Paratici was brought in, right, to teach Levy the dark arts of signing players. That's it. Nothing else. Look where he is now.
No, I agree. Just quickly, I want to address this point again. H, you can say we agree to disagree. We can't make assumptions that Conte can't build. He's only been here for 15 months. He's asked for 3 to 4 transfer windows. Okay, H, I can make assumptions because history tells us that Antonio Conte's average length at a club. Does anyone know the answer? His average tenure.
2 years, is it?
18 months.
It's 18 months. It's like 17 and a half months. So
Savva, I know H because I was debating with him yesterday, and he's a good guy. He's very
he is. Yeah, I'm not saying he's not, Alex. But my point is this: we're talking about facts here. Conte's average tenure at a football club is 18 months or less. His contract runs out in 3 months. So when we're talking about we don't know that he can't build, where's this ever been proved? Is
I
my
agree with
question.
you.
But
Because
also the other point is he doesn't want to, does he? If he wanted to have these extra transfer windows, then why is he not going to put it down and said, I want to activate the extension to my contract? He hasn't done that. He doesn't want to be here.
I mean, the only reason why I picked up his name because he was the one that really debate really got me going yesterday. To be honest, with you, on I can't mention the channel, but you know, you know what I'm talking about, Savva. But the point I'm making is that they were very, very for Antonio Conte, and I guess I could see his point of what he was saying, but at the same time, I sat there and thought, it's still your points are valid even more further, because that's why I'm saying, you know, the guy doesn't stay a long time at clubs, doesn't he? So
Nowhere.
you know, and it kept on saying the thing that was kept on being brought up is that, oh, we haven't given him 3 years, you know, and Antonio Conte said that in his thing as well, and I was like, well, no.
But the funny thing is, Alex, when people keep saying to people like me and you and Perchy, and they say things like, give him time, right? When people say give him time, he's the one that signed an 18-month contract, Alex, not us. Well, everyone's making it out like we're asking for a manager to be sacked who's got another 4 years on his contract. The guy's winding down his contract. I don't understand these people that say he's asked for 3 or 4 more windows. Yeah, he's also actively trying to get sacked in every press conference that he gives. Look at this.
He doesn't come across as someone who wants to stay, does he?
Look at this, guys. Ready? Here we go. Can you see that?
Nothing. Yep, now it's coming up.
Right. Now, that might be quite small there, but if you actually look, I'll read out what that is. This is his managerial career. You ready? His managerial career was 1 year at Arezzo, 2 years at Bari, 1 year at Atalanta, 1 year at Siena, 3 years at Juve, 2 years at Italy, 2 years at Chelsea, 2 years at Inter Milan. Are we not seeing a pattern there?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe the pattern will break. I don't know.
Yeah, Eugene, listen, the pattern might break, but the fact that he signed an 18-month contract, right? I think it kind of gives us his answer, right?
Yeah, because like I told you in all this while, right? Like for me, I'm not a Conte in or Conte out guy. All the while, I was looking at Conte as more like a symbol, right, to show the ambitions of the owners. And in the end of the day, now what I see Conte is just a stopgap manager, right? And of course, with a little bit of hope that maybe if him being the stopgap manager, or maybe he will push the owners to actually act in the way to show us some ambition, which is in the end of the day, we come back to square one again. That's why in the end of the day, it doesn't matter who comes in after him, because it's just another cycle of, you know,
sure. Sure. But absolutely. Listen, as I've said all the way along, right? Hang on. And H, by the way, this option with an extra year, has to be agreed by both parties. That's written into the contract. I remember, was it Alistair Gold or someone was talking about that they put the option in, but Spurs can't trigger it without Antonio Conte agreeing to it. So listen, James, I agree. Things don't always stay the same, but that doesn't change the fact that there's no evidence to suggest that Conte is a guy that stays anywhere for 4 to 5 years and builds. He's never done it.
But this is the point, though. What people you're saying that patterns could change. He doesn't come across like a manager that wants to stay here. He's literally thrown and burning the place down and walking away and going to Italy for 2 weeks, for a week or whatever.
Yeah, where is he now?
He doesn't come across as a. Everyone keeps saying to me, "Oh, he has an extension. He wants this, that, and the other." He says all this stuff when we win games of football. when we lose games of football, it's everyone's terrible, we're crap, we're this, that, and the other, and every name under the sun.
But
From
Percy,
managers-
that was only one time he's done it, right?
No.
No, he's done it loads. Come on.
The only time he's done it as big as that, yes, agreed. He went apoplectic again after the Southampton game. But I remember when we're losing games of football and he's making digs, he's making small digs, and he's commenting saying this, that, and the other all the time. When we win, by the way, this is it. He's a very emotional man. When we win games, it's amazing. The grandeur of the man is when we win games. When we lose games, he is the most miserable man ever. And that's
just
That's
quickly.
a Spurs fan.
True. Just quickly, we are going to go. It's 4:30 in the UK. We're going to go till 20 to 5. So we've got 10 minutes left. Get in any questions you want for the panel to read out. Please keep subscribing. Subscribe to Persuasion TV. Subscribe to Mr. Box Office and Alex THFC. Subscribe to the Perchy TV and subscribe to Football Heritage TV. If for nothing else, but for my wonderful new intro video, which took a while to get together. And we are now 190 away from the magical 4K number. So please help me hit that before my channel is 1 year old in 20 days time. Look, at the end of the day, I do feel like lots of people think I hate Conte. I don't hate Conte. I feel there's a lot of merit into what he said the other day. But for me, I think it would have been so much more powerful, guys. I feel like the mic drop moment would have been to do that and then resign the next day. I truly believe
if spot on.
If he had gone on that rant,
I've been waiting for him to walk since he came in.
I agree. But this is the problem, Eugene. Had he have given that press conference and then an hour later, Sky Sports breaking news, Antonio Conte resigns, not sacked, Antonio Conte resigns, I turn around and go, right, where are we building the statue?
Yep.
Right?
What he has
He
resigned.
came out the next day.
I think he's losing respect. I think he's also losing respect the fact that he didn't resign after all those moments and stuff as well. Because if he wasn't backed in the January when in the last summer, he could have left because he got us Champions League.
Agreed.
I said that. Yeah. He could have left. He could have left in January because it was a joke as well. You know what I mean? He could have left after just after the World Cup. He could have left as well. You know what I mean? It's like it's just quite funny, really. You know what I mean? Big up to my boy Phil P, by the way. Woo! I say all the time. Like, you know what I mean? But I just think for me,
Alex, I think I know what happened. Right? Conte came to Spurs and he fell in love with the stadium. That's it.
I don't think so. I think he's come here as a stopgap for him. I mean, no, but I think he's come here because it's an easy win for him, and this is why everyone says, why would a top manager come to Spurs? Why wouldn't you? It's an absolute free ride. You get paid big money, and you don't even have to achieve to be considered great. Yeah. Some of our fan base are going on like he's the Messiah. He hasn't done anything at Tottenham.
No, and then you get sacked, right? And then you get a big compensation package.
But this is the thing, though. And just to sort of go back on the whole thing about what Savva was saying about him walking, resigning day after he'd done that. What did he do the day after he made that speech? He basically bottled it by going, no, guys, it wasn't about the owners. It just completely lost all credibility. Like, why are you bringing it?
I agree.
Just quickly, we'll come back to that in a second. Pep Guardiola did 5 seasons as Barcelona manager, then 3 as Bayern Munich. There's a huge difference between being at Bayern Munich and Barcelona, where you are backed and winning everything and moving on, as opposed to Antonio Conte, who's managed, how many clubs did I say he's managed? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 clubs he's managed and never done more than 3 years. I don't.
Pep didn't win the Champions League at Barcelona. That's why, right?
Bayern Munich, he didn't win the Champions League. He won 2. He won 2 at Barcelona. But I think I get what people are saying. Why can't he be that manager that builds? I think the very reason that he keeps having these outbursts shows you why he's not a manager that builds, because he's frustrated. because this is a manager who wants it now. I want success now. Why are my players so bad? Build managers realize, hang on, there's a lot of work to do here. Yeah, I'm just going to go through my seasons. So I don't understand how people still, I still can't understand his history. The Chelsea fans warned us.
Can I
They
just
told
say
us he
something
would do
about
this.
Zerbi? Can I just say something about Zerbi?
Go for it.
And this is another slight at the person that is called Paratici, that is cooking but not cooking at all. Yeah.
It's
For me,
cooking.
at the moment, I think Tottenham Hotspur should keep well away from him at the moment. They've got no idea. I think what Brighton have done, as I said before, they've done their research on
Yep.
this guy. They've got the right guy in. And they've looked at Graham Potter's positives, and they've gone out and tried to look at the same sort of manager that can bring it on further. Yeah, because they knew one day Graham Potter will leave. Yeah, so they thought of a plan to move it forward. You know what I mean? Now, for me, Tottenham Hotspur getting Zerbi in is only on the back of Brighton's work. Okay, it's not because they've done research on the guy, because they didn't know nothing about him. You know what I
Well,
mean?
hang on. Sorry, Alex, why? I think you're talking as though De Zerbi's not been a manager for years and years and years across Europe. Why
No,
is it that no one would know about him?
No, but what I'm saying is that it's not that he hasn't done. You know, I'm not discrediting him, but I just think Tottenham Hotspur only going on the back of. I'm not having a go at him. I'm having a go
I
at
hear you.
Tottenham Hotspur. Okay, because for me, he's got the tools that he needs. You know, at Brighton to find the
Yeah.
scout and the players that he needs. Okay, that's why it's so well run and why they've got Zerbi in the
agree.
first place. You
I
know what I
agree.
mean? For
But
Tottenham
surely
Hotspur,
whoever comes in, Alex, though, has got to create that at Spurs, because they're building off of what?
well,
We don't
this is
have an ethos, do we?
I don't know if Zerbi would have that strength in that sense to go over to Tottenham and say, okay,
I think I understand what Alex is saying,
Yeah,
right?
I agree. No, I understand. Yeah, I get it.
If
You know what I mean?
if Zerbi comes in, right, with our recruitment and scouting system that we have, where do you think he'll be? Right? He won't be anywhere either, too.
and
So
if-
unless he brings the whole Brighton management, scouting team, whatever, if Levy buys them all over, then maybe we'll have a chance, right? And I don't know.
Just-
That's how I see it.
Just quickly, this here, when again, when you say, why are we all not screaming at our owners? Because I don't want my show to just be a whole 2 hours of Enoch and Levy out. You know, I want to be able to talk about other aspects of the football club. Right? I mean, I don't know. Alex, I know you're bored of it. The whole Levy and Enoch conversation.
Maybe you should just do a show just based on the 2 hours. Right? We're gonna just shout Levy out, Levy
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Levy out,
Just
Levy out
have
for
it
2
on
hours.
have a 5 minutes of it and just have it on repeat for 2 hours, because I just feel like it's the same conversations, and the thing is and when we say why are we not screaming about the owners, everyone is screaming about the owners right now. Everyone is. You hear it everywhere.
Yeah,
that's why. But I just wanted to say what I'm saying about Zerbi. I just think at the moment he's going to go into a firing pot at Tottenham where it's just not organised whatsoever.
agreed.
But at the moment, Tottenham haven't done enough for me to get the best out of what Zerbi's got at Brighton at the moment, and that's why I would say a manager like because he hasn't even won. I don't know if he's won anything at the moment as well. So that credit in the bank can say, well, by the way, I've won stuff here, and you've done nothing. You know what I mean? So you can't go to Levy and say, sorry, mate, if you want to carry on with me, yeah, I'm not going to waste my career on you. If you're gonna not do what I want, you know what I mean? Because the thing is, though, the thing that's really, I know we don't want Conte, and I don't want Conte as well, but the fact that Conte and even Mourinho at that chance as well have not been able to implement what they want, okay, and not been able to implement their authority on what they want, even though they've won trophies, okay, is an absolute shambles, and that's it. Yeah,
Alex, I agree.
And that's me saying it. Oh, I hated him, and that's it.
This is what I mean. Whoever the next manager is, they need to agree at the beginning, right? They need to agree at the beginning with Levy, with if it's Paratici or if it's a new director of football, right? Where do we see the football club in 5 to 10 years? Now, that might not involve you, manager that's coming in now. In 5-10 years, you might not be here, right? Football management for you. But we want you to kick off how we're going to build, right? And then everyone would need to be patient with, okay, we're now going to try and change to this philosophy for the long term. So the first manager that comes in, people are going to have to take some time to acknowledge that man needs time to get the ball rolling. Don't expect that that manager comes in and, oh my God, they didn't win a trophy, they're terrible. Conte, for me, is not the guy that's going to come in and implement a club-wide philosophy. He is, this is what I do. Yeah, these are the players that I want, and then I bugger off down the road and I win with someone else. And
No,
that,
but
for
Savva,
me,
but Savva, my
patience.
question would be, right? Does Levy have that kind of patience not to be in Champions League,
I
not to
agree.
have the Champions League money, right? Then you come back to square one again. We're just going round and round circles. 5 to 10 years time, right? Most probably, right? The objective is just to have another Beyonce concert.
Can I just be honest with you? I just say what I feel. That's the thing that I do now, because I can't predict what Levy wants anymore. So for me, it's
We all
now it's
can't.
kind of now
Yeah,
like I'm doing my channel. I'm doing less reactive things anymore, right? And that's what you're going to come soon on Mr. Boxers with Team, subscribe and like. But anyway, moving on. But my point is, right, is that is that I'm just looking at what I want. You know what I mean? What would make me happy as a supporter of Tottenham Hotspur,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying, and that's it, and that's all I need to say, and that's it.
Listen, we are going to wrap the show up. One last comment I do want to point out is this. Claude, you're another one that says this. Let's get behind Conte. Conte isn't even behind Conte at the moment. If the guy signs a new contract and that is the road we're going to go down, cool. We have to get behind him. But at the moment, the guy keeps buggering off to Italy. He's throwing his toys out the pram. If you can't see, Claude, that this is coming to a hard, painful conclusion, I don't know how I can help, my friend. I don't know how I can help.
Exactly.
Listen, thank you so much, Eugene. Thank you for coming on. Pleasure as always, my man.
Thanks for having me on, Savva. Nice meeting you, Perchi. Good to catch up with you again, Alex.
Always a pleasure, man.
Alex, big up, mate. Thanks for coming on. Always enjoy chatting to you. Perchi, as always. Listen, please go over, subscribe to all these guys. I'm now 186 away, so come on, help me get to that big 4K. Thanks to everyone in the chat. And Spain, Norway apparently is what Kuva wants us to all watch tonight. So let's all watch Spain and Norway. So much love.
Yeah.
We'll be back tomorrow for the Spurs review, where I'm sure there'll be a lot more Antonio Conte and Daniel Levy chat. And other than that, we'll see you later. Take care.
And as always, Levy out.
Ciao.